Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. Welcome to BloodRayne, a podcast about sexy vampires.
It is less sexy, Adam.
I don't know what.
For a movie that
adjective.
has breasts, it is not a sexy film.
No, it isn't. Although there were moments with Michael Madsen's hair.
Yeah,
that really,
Michael
really
Madsen's,
warmed me up.
and then his assistant, the vampire hunting mullet.
I want you to know who that man is at the moment when I discovered who that man is, which happens in the course of the film. There's a moment in the film.
I still don't know who he is.
Okay, don't look him up because I'm going to tell you. There's a moment in the film when I discovered who he is, and it helped me.
He looked like he was medieval Stifler to me. It is the sex scene is unappealing.
No,
the sex scene, I was like, are they okay?
Yeah,
they don't seem okay.
Yeah,
and like it's dirty and
let
like
go
they're
of that
dirty.
Door. Let go of the door.
Yeah,
like that seems like it's not helping anything.
Yeah,
Oh
my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, why did they have sex? Like, I know that sounds
no,
dumb,
I don't know.
But
I
kind
don't
of
know.
why?
I literally rewound it when the sex scene happened because I was like, wait, did I miss a beat?
Yeah, how did this happen?
Yeah, how did this happen? And it was like, did they have any relationship before this moment? Yeah.
Nah.
And then afterwards, she's like, no, I can't lose you. Spoilers.
I mean, spoilers?
And it's like, you guys barely know each other.
This is a movie that defies spoiling, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
It defies spoiling because nothing happens in a sensical way. So, like, even if I told you the beats of it, I couldn't spoil it because you wouldn't be following the beats of it. Nobody could follow the beats of it.
This was a movie where I was paying close attention, and I kept having these moments of like, what did I miss?
Yes, all the time. I kept like pausing, taking notes, and then being like, "Wait, was I just not looking or something? I don't get it." I was confused all the time in this movie.
Her plan at the end is nonsense.
Yeah,
nonsense.
What is any? But nobody has a plan. Not a single person has an idea in this movie.
The only person who has a plan is Ben Kingsley. And
his
plan is, I will not leave this room. I will be sitting in this throne for days.
This movie was, I swear to God, it seems like it was completely constructed around not making him film more than 12 hours. It seems
absolutely.
like the whole movie was constructed for that.
They paid him half the budget.
Yeah.
And he barely stood up.
Yeah. He hated every second of this. He despised it with pure rage. And that does translate into the performance.
Yeah. Oh my God! Do people know what we're talking about?
I don't know what we're talking about. If they're confused,
we're talking about. Listen, we're talking about 2005's BloodRayne.
Oh boy!
Directed by Uwe Boll, starring Christina Loken, or the Terminator from T3.
Sure.
Ben Kingsley, Michelle Rodriguez doing a British accent.
I don't know.
I
don't know
Madsen
what she was doing.
In a glorious way.
Michael Madsen doing everything exactly the way I want him to in this movie. He's perfect in this movie, and I'll explain what I mean later.
Udo Kier is there.
Yeah. Right.
Meatloaf shows up dressed as Orgy Santa. Is how I described him.
Yeah, he looks like the foppish character in every Jane Austen novel. That's what he looks like, you know.
And this is going through the spooky titles and quote a special appearance by Billy Zane. And I was like, oh, if your Billy Zane is a special appearance, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
I wrote that down. That was my first note. Special appearance, all caps. Wow, we're really doing it.
This is, I believe, I already forgot the director's name.
Uwe Boll.
You know,
Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll. Yeah, one of
however
the
you
worst
say it.
directors ever. This is him attempting to capture the success, I think, of Resident Evil, which is like not a great movie either.
It looks like it's
fine.
trying to be that. Yeah, that's what it looks
Yeah.
like. Like the outfits kind of suggest it, like specifically the women's outfits kind
Yeah.
of suggest it. Also, this is his third video game adaptation.
Yeah,
and
he did
this
House
is a
of the
video
Devil.
game, which I didn't know because I've never played it.
Wait, really? You didn't know
Yes.
this was a video game?
No, I was like, what the fuck
man,
is this?
you seem you're all up on BloodRayne. You just seem like a blood boy.
I'm I
Wow.
am a blood boy, but I mean something very different than this.
Yeah.
when I say
no,
that.
if you watched from the DVD, it came with the game.
Yes, it did. I put it in the DVD player, not knowing what I was doing, and it was like,
Yeah.
it was like game not playable, and I was like, what the fuck? So
Yeah.
when I pulled
that's
it
a
out,
PC game.
yeah, when I pulled it out, I was like, wait, they gave me a game with this? It led to the 30 most fun minutes of this entire thing. Was researching
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Because it's basically apparently. See, I thought BloodRayne was a popular game. Apparently, it's not popular enough to the point that they were like, by the way, here's the game.
They gave me
Like-
the sequel. They gave you
Yeah.
they gave you the sequel that was
right.
much less popular, I think. But I had never
Yeah.
played it, so like but like I'd seen the cover box, like it seemed familiar.
Yeah.
The cover. Did you play it? Did you ever play
No.
the game? Okay.
Why would I? It just seemed like a game that people played.
So what everyone needs to know at the outset of this particular enterprise is there's 3 movies, right? But
Yeah,
and this
we are certainly going to.
we're gonna watch
do
them
a
all.
podcast for each movie.
yeah, we're gonna
aren't
watch
we?
them all. I'm gonna disavow all knowledge of it, as is my right.
Of course.
But we're gonna do them all. But Dave, did you know there's also a parody film of the Third Reich film called Blubberella that is also directed by Uwe Boll, and it is apparently entirely offensive, but it's also a scene-for-scene remake of the third one, but with fat jokes.
Oh my god,
That exists, Dave.
So that is Uwe Boll perfect
Yes.
because he made the movie Postal, which is
Yes.
it's one of those. It's like movie 43 where it's like we're gonna offend everybody.
Right.
Me and Tom, I believe, watched it. It has been completely erased from my memory.
Of course.
but I remember it was the most toothless like shock horror or shock comedy where it was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna make fun of like, we're just gonna be like racist and shitty and not really have jokes. And it was just like, man, what a bummer. He is such a bad filmmaker.
Yeah, he's just got really bad taste, it seems. I watched a
Yeah.
little bit of an interview they were doing with him after. So, like, they got an interview with him. It's on the DVD. And it's like, they're like, a meal with Uwe Boll, right? I'm going to call him Uwe. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. So, like, the setup, Dave, you need to watch it. It's on the DVD that you sent.
It came with a bunch of special features.
so,
I noticed
like,
that.
So, they have salads in plastic plates, glasses of wine, and he's drinking, alongside the wine, he's drinking a Diet Mountain Dew.
Perfect.
It's like,
Perfect man.
oh, this is exactly who he is. Like, we captured it in one place
Yeah.
setting. We captured it.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
He's not a good guy. I'm just assuming this, but I'm pretty sure he's not a good guy. And like he's certainly not a good director.
I don't like to judge people too much based on their art because people.
I
like
just
to,
heard he was a prick as well.
I
Like,
believe that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that. People like to explore darkness and stuff. This isn't really an exploration. This is more of this is very close to an exploitation film. Like very, very close.
guess,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is. It's very close.
It doesn't have enough nudity or gore
Well,
to like be
Dave,
good.
Dave, did you know that the nude scenes were filmed with prostitutes instead of actors?
Interesting.
Yeah, he got a lot of flack for that. Like, he just hired... So, like, that's where it
But
starts
like
to get to be, like...
the sex scene. She's. I mean, I don't care. This is a weird conversation, but like she shows her boobs.
Right,
The
right.
Terminatrix.
Right. I'm sure that was in the contract and everything.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure. But yeah, the meatloaf scene, that just makes it even more uncomfortable. The fact
what I
that it's
mean.
meatloaf surrounded by sex workers.
Right.
And
It's
not
weird.
actors.
Yeah, it's weird. And it's also, like... It just speaks to a level of, like, it not being professional. And again, I'm not slandering sex workers. I'm saying, like, this is a person who hired them instead of doing the procedures that you should do to make nudity safe on set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
That's the
No,
thing.
no, yeah. It's not a slander on sex workers.
Right.
It's the idea of, like, hiring like I'm trying to think. It's like doing a fight scene and hiring like MMA guys and not stuntmen.
Which he might have done. I don't know, because there's one character that looks like he must be an MMA guy.
I wrote down, I can't believe this MMA bro is having a scene with Ben Kingsley.
That's right.
I wrote that down. Yeah. I was like, this shouldn't happen. This should be illegal.
I wrote down, this
hair?
this guy looks like he is a strip mall martial arts instructor.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like. It's unreal.
I want to start with him and the fact that there isn't a single normal haircut in this entire movie.
Not one. They're also not the same abnormal. They're all from like different fucking eras.
Yeah. Different films. The MMA guy has like an 80s rapper haircut where it's like these designs.
Yeah.
Like in it, and then like Michael Madsen not his real hair.
He's like a musketeer. He looks like he's out of a romance novel. You know? Like he's aging out of a romance novel. It's pretty incredible, really. His mane is
Billy Zane wearing what appears to just be it's obviously a rug because it's Billy Zane,
of course,
and the man is balding,
right?
But it doesn't look like they tried to give him like. It looks like they just had one last wig in like the cart, and were like, throw that on Zane. It's not brushed. Like it's just messy,
it's really bad,
and he's like supposed to be like a fancy vampire, and so it's like, did he just wake up? What is happening?
I mean, the one on Ben Kingsley is inexcusable. You can see the wig line the entire time.
Yeah,
like if I'm him, I'm so angry that they're doing this. You know?
Yeah, or it's like they put it on him, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna do, and he's just like, don't touch me, roll cameras, don't touch me. Let's just start.
I'm gonna rapidly make time expire, like whatever I can do to make this day be over. Also the other guy, Sebastian, who, by the way, I'm gonna be referring to that faction as the Madsons. That's the easiest way for me to make sense of them.
Wait, what's the character Sebastian?
Yeah, Sebastian is the other.
I don't know
Madsen.
any of the names.
He's the other.
Okay, he's
Madsen.
Mullet. He's vampire hunting
Madsen.
Mullet.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. He had a mullet, and it was like, why? Why does he have a mullet? What is that? Why would you do that? Insane.
Yeah, this starts on like the set to Xena Warrior Princess. It's and they're vampire hunters in a world that I guess vampires are just around.
They did not make that clear because that was a problem. That's a narrative problem right up top. Like, wait a minute, so everybody knows vampires exist. Vampires are terrorizing the world. So then why is our hero, the Daphne, who is at least ostensibly a vampire, why is she in a circus? Why do people even want to see that?
Yeah, so
right?
She's a daywalker.
Right.
The circus was very confusing. So I want to start with, they're at the bar, and he stabs a guy next to him who just happens to be a vampire. And I was like, how does he know that's a vampire?
He did that mirror thing.
Vampires?
Mirror, but the mirror thing was not that clear. Like, I had to watch it 3 times to figure out what they were trying to do.
Got it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so in this world, you can stab a vampire just in the stomach. And I guess it's silver or something.
Holy blade. I don't know, man. They never explain any of this. Yeah.
And no one reacts.
Yeah, everyone's
and
like,
so
cool.
It's just like, oh, okay. So they're just like vermin here? Is that it?
Right.
And this vampire was just getting a drink. He wasn't hurting anybody.
Also,
so
it wasn't clear for a little while that was a vampire. Like, it just felt like he stabbed some guy
crusty.
And he just turned into a ghoul. He turned into an ash ghoul.
I assumed, I was like, that must be a vampire, right?
You did. I didn't read a single word about this movie. I was like, I'm gonna fucking not ingest anything.
About vampires.
No.
Okay.
So I came in completely blank. It looked like a vampire movie, so it didn't take me that long. But it was definitely like, what? What is this?
No, you're right, because he stabs him in the stomach and he crusts up, and it's like none of that translates to a vampire.
I have no idea what any of that is. And the barkeep's just like, you want a drink? He's totally cool about it. Oh, God.
And so, they hear that there's a circus with a woman who is magical. And at first I was like, how many magicians have these guys killed? They're like, I've heard of a man
magicians.
who can make doves appear from thin air. And they're like, we better kill that guy. He's a vampire.
Right.
Like
Well,
the fact that they're chasing down a circus.
yeah,
a circus act.
They're like, so it takes about an hour of this extremely long hour and a half movie.
Yeah.
It takes about an hour for it to be clear what exactly this group is trying to do.
Yes.
Like, you don't know what they're trying to do. So for all I know, because again, they cast Michael Madsen. Michael Madsen has never been the hero of any movie I've ever seen him in.
Including this movie.
Right. So I just
Including movies where he's the good guy.
Right.
He's never been the hero.
So I just assume, oh, he's like a murdering tyrant. Like that's his deal.
yeah,
you
he's
know?
got to be the bad guy.
Right, and like nothing about what they do undercuts that for a very,
Them
very
just-
long time.
Yeah, just stabbing someone at the bar. I think they're supposed to show they're badass, but they haven't introduced a world where vampires are bad
Right.
or that those were vampires.
Right.
So I was like, he's just murdered that man for ordering a drink.
Right. Right.
That
And it's
must
like,
be. They must be bad.
Yeah, or like this is like a fucking like an apocalyptic wasteland type world where everything goes.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
which it really could have been for a while. Like just again,
Yeah, the era. I actually, now that you mention it, I'm not entirely sure when this takes place.
So I looked it
This
up.
could-
I looked it up.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the 1700s, which makes some of the wigs make sense. But
yeah,
you,
it could have been the year 3000.
it absolutely could have been the future. It absolutely could have been some war-torn area in like the early 1900s. It could have
Yep.
been so many fucking places and times.
Yeah.
You know.
I hadn't
yeah.
even thought about that.
Yeah, it's bananas. Well, again, like, so
Yes.
we're going to be dunking on this director the whole time. That's what this podcast will probably be.
Yeah,
and I'm not
This is
being-
going to be
'cause-
a little more like 50 Shades was like
The writer
About
mostly, right?
the
Like,
writer, yeah. And then Twilight is just Twilight, man. That's a
Twilight
that's
is a
special.
monolith of sorrow, yes.
Yeah,
So,
this is just a mess.
yeah. This is mostly bad because of the director more than any of the other elements, which we'll be calling out. But the director failed on like comprehension levels here. So like that's what we're going to be constantly focused on. And I say that not because we planned it, but just because
Yeah.
I know that's what's going to happen. Like there's
Yeah,
no
no,
other way.
like 50 Shades of Grey is a movie. like
well,
in the sense that
it's
you can
competent
tell what,
enough.
Yes, you can tell what's happening scene to scene.
Correct.
This movie, I'm just like I am lost.
I don't understand who is who or why is what or what is
Yeah.
happening.
It is.
It's baffling. And there's a lot of money going on in this movie for
Yeah,
how
look
shitty
at all
it
these
is.
actors.
Yeah, it was a $25 million budget.
That's so fucking wild.
It made 3.7.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that our purchase is a large percentage of
Sure.
the money this movie is making now.
Sure. Yeah. That's
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
That is accurate to what it is. When we get to that circus, by the way, so like again,
I
these,
think we're at the circus.
yeah,
now,
these
right?
guys do a murder, and then they're like, we got to find this circus freak, okay? Because they get a tip from the barkeep about that they have a circus freak, okay? So like, and we don't know anything about what that means at all. So they go to the circus.
So many questions. With
Right.
The circus.
They go to the circus. They introduce our lead, our main character, whose name is Rain. We find out in 4 scenes. Takes a while, but Rain. So, and they introduce her with standard vampire introductions. I mean, they were actually a little confusing.
Did you
because
say standard vampire?
yeah, because
Yeah,
she
I
drinks
guess-
blood. You know what I mean?
Oh,
She
yeah.
drinks blood and it
So
heals
this-
her wounds.
the circus act. So the act that the circus
Yeah, yeah.
has created is we're going to torture this lady while you all cheer.
Right. It was
They
like, who
bring
would
this
see
lady-
that? Who would watch it?
They're like, look at this woman. Water hurts her. And they hit her with water and it burns her. And then they kill a goat and everybody's like, yay! And then they make her drink the goat's blood and she heals. And that's the entirety of the circus act.
It's
And I was like, this is the lamest circus act I've ever seen.
right. It's like, okay, so I understand that in like ancient antiquity and medieval times and stuff, people like went to hangings and things.
Yeah.
And like, so there's like, I see that there's a crowd attraction to the macabre, right? That's not what this was. This was like, let's just torture a person because like you're dissecting a bug, right? And it was really weird, and I just didn't think people would be into it. And number 2, if the world is being overrun by vampires, why do they care about this
Right.
woman?
They're like, that's a vampire.
Yeah, why are we paying anything to see this horse shit?
Yeah.
Right? It's so
yeah.
unclear. Entirely unclear.
Yep. And biggest question for me, why isn't she escaping? Why
Since
is she
can.
allowing this?
Yes.
She escapes 2 scenes later easily. And
Yeah.
so like I don't know why they throw her in her cell, which is for her to sleep on a bed of fur coats. And I was like, okay. And like it's weird because they're trying to show like, look how her life is bad. And then it's also like she gets fur coats to sleep on, and I don't know. And then this woman, like, who I assumed was going to be
Wait.
who's going to be
I don't want to pass that by. Are you offended by the idea
I'm saying
that she
that
has
so
comfortable
you're-
bedding?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying
great.
that if you're a set designer and they're like, we want to show how
Right.
miserable her life is,
Right.
you'd throw some hay in there or not have
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
It was so weird that she's sleeping on Triple X's coat.
Right.
Like she's sleeping on this beautiful fur assortment. And I was like, that's, okay. Like
Yeah.
it's not a plot hole or anything. It was just like weird.
It's a
It
little
just,
more comfortable than you'd expect, given that they slice her to ribbons for their entertainment.
Right. And
Yeah.
they're trying to show that she's starting in this terrible place.
Also, she seems grossed out by herself. That was like a thing
Yeah.
I know. Like when they were describing her and like showing her, like her character as a vampire, she also was like, ugh, like grossed.
Yeah.
grossed out. I was like,
She
why?
was.
Why does she feel like that? It really troubled me.
She has a circus friend who
Yeah.
I just assumed would matter, but it turned out
Nope.
she wouldn't.
No.
Not even in terms of like revenge or anything. Who gives her a necklace and it's like, here's my necklace. And she's like, thanks. And it's another one where she's like, if we don't see each other again or something. And it's like, how long has this circus been happening? Like,
Who knows?
This is just any
Impossible
this is
to
just,
say.
Right. She's like saying her goodbyes, but it's like nothing's happening. Like, as far as they know, they're going to be in this circus for another week or year or month. Like, there's no telling. But she escapes.
It's in a time. Yeah, it's time bound. It creates a couple of other logistical problems, Dave, that need to be explored. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Here's the
okay.
first one. The first one is, why does our hero Rain, who is a Dampier, which is a half human, half vampire, a subject Dave and I happen to be familiar with, by the way.
Yeah.
Why is she able to put on a cross necklace? Why does that not harm her?
I think that's the rules. It's the rules. Like in Blade, he can go out and he's a daywalker, right? He's half vampire, half human. He could go out in the sun. But the lore, as far as I know, seems to be whatever they want.
Well, they're playing really fast and loose, but like just to be clear, the entire plot hinges on the idea that there was once a vampire who was immune to all the deficiencies that all vampires suffer from,
Right.
including holy water and light and crosses. Those 3 things. So they separated him into 3 body parts and put them all over the land, right? And she also
Like his heart, his rib, and his eye.
his
was
rib and his eye. It's
It's like, huh?
yeah, you got those things. You got yourself
Where's the
a
rest
super
of 'em?
vampire. I don't know, man. I don't know. So, like, the problem is they introduce her to us as having those deficiencies, but then she, for no reason, is not affected by crosses. A fact they bring up later as, like, she's evolved. But,
Right.
but has she? It's very confusing.
Well, all right. I'm going to go one step further and
Thank
ask
you.
you a
Please.
very basic question.
Great. Yeah, ready.
What makes the vampires in this movie powerful?
Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. I suspect their power is mostly derived from just being hideous to look at for the most part.
Yes.
And also, I suspect it's because nobody wants to talk to Ben Kingsley that long.
Yes.
Like, he's insufferably boring and frustrating.
Just-
they just don't want to deal
Just to
with
be
him.
clear, what I'm saying is that in this movie, being a vampire appears to be all the bad parts and no superhuman abilities whatsoever.
They can't
At
leap
no
from building to
point-
building. They don't fly.
Yeah,
they don't do anything.
At no point does a vampire do anything vampire-like. They are simply hurt by water.
Yep.
Can't go out in the sun.
Yep.
And have to drink blood. But they are not powerful in any way. In any way. Michael Madsen has the easiest time with them. at
Michael
any given
Madsen,
moment.
and he is struggling to do most of the stuff that they're asking him to do.
He's 2005's Michael Madsen.
That's right. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the director hadn't seen the hit film Signs, in
Yeah.
which the aliens were allergic to water. Spoilers for Signs, and that pretty much ruined their invasion. That was pretty much
Yeah, exactly.
it for them.
Where it's like, you know what? if you invade a planet, make sure it's not covered in the thing that'll kill you.
Right.
It's the equivalent of us trying to invade the sun.
It can't.
It really is. Like, it's a very bad idea.
That's exactly what it is. It's like they're trying to master the sun. Good luck.
Yeah.
It's impossible that these people would ever gain the upper hand. It's impossible that there would be this many of them because, as far as I can see, nobody ever gets made a vampire. All that ever happens is vampires are killing other people and themselves and each other.
This is the part where I was like, surely this will mean something.
Right.
She easily escapes the circus. Easily. Not through vampire powers.
No.
She just kills them all.
Nah.
Again, can't stress enough that they never show them doing anything superhuman. They just fight. And boy, the fighting is not good in this movie. So many cuts. The sword. Did you notice that the swords aren't sharp?
Yes, I noticed that all the weapons are bad. They're all bad. They're all very bad.
They're not even stage weapons.
No,
they're like practice weapons.
Yes, they are. They're shiny like they've never been used. They're not sharp. They look like what you give your kids when they're in their first Halloween costume where it doesn't matter. That's how bad they look.
But she kills the circus and bites the lady, and I thought, oh, that's going to show like her remorse.
Yeah, her friend.
And then her friend's going to like come back as a vampire. No, Michael Madsen just kills her in the next scene. By stabbing her in the gut, which again, apparently that's just how you kill vampires in this.
Yeah. In this world,
which again makes you wonder, like, wow, what's the point of being a vampire?
I can't figure out any advantage to it. Like, there's no seduction to it. They're not elegant or in power or any of those things. Like, none of the things you like about
they're
vampires.
Just people with different diets. That's it.
Kind of.
And like allergies.
Yeah, they're actually just sickly, is what they are.
Yeah.
And like, again, not belittling that, just saying that is de facto what they're saying.
No, it's worse to be a vampire.
Way worse.
In this world.
Way worse.
And I don't just mean like, oh, you're a spawn of Satan. I mean, none of the advantages, none of the physical advantages of being a vampire are in this movie. They pale in comparison to the Twilight vampires.
They really, yes,
like,
yes. That the Twilight vampires would tear them to would Ken-doll their heads off like nothing.
They would,
like it was nothing. Only if it happened in this universe, it would bleed outrageously, like it was like it was a Tarantino parody or something.
Yeah, or a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that actually Monty Python is a pretty good touchstone for how the violence feels.
Yes, for
right?
sure.
Like I would say,
because I would say Tarantino also did Monty Python style, but because it's Tarantino, he's doing something. This isn't doing something. So yeah, Monty Python it's just like bright red spurting blood.
It's really
comical.
It's really, really clear that's the thing the director cared the most about.
Yeah.
Like the director was like, more than anything else, I want to see tons and tons and tons of blood. That's what I want. And so that's what happened. Hope you like it, everyone. Sometimes I did. It definitely made me laugh a few times.
The ending montage.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What
Why?
was that?
What?
Why?
Why?
All right. But first we have to talk about, because this is around the time the movie introduces Ben Kingsley.
That's true.
Which I am not joking when I say that he spends the entire movie in a room.
One single room. Never leaves it. Never.
Yeah, and the movie goes on for days, if not weeks. And they keep cutting back to him sitting in the same chair, in the exact same outfit.
Looking at nothing. Staring
at nothing.
Yeah.
He's just
what is he
staring.
Doing? Well, I think...
I don't know. There's like a couple guards and there's some torches. And if you look in some of the shots, the room is actually lined with people.
Right.
He has this like thrall army.
Right.
And it's like, are they talking?
No.
Do they do anything?
No.
Or are they just sitting there in silence?
It is a joyless NPC convention in there.
Yes.
It's like it's what the NPCs are doing when the protagonist character isn't in the room.
Is.
They're just they are shut down like a fucking Disneyland ride with nobody operating it. It's just shut down.
I want to talk for a second about
I want
the Street Fighter movie.
Okay,
real quick.
Thank you, but can I just make one little comment so I don't forget it?
Yeah.
So we also like the one thing that we do get from Rayne's murder, her bite murder of her friend from the circus, is that she takes her friend's weird double blades. This movie thinks those double blades are so fucking cool.
Right.
And
yet they don't use them, really.
They're very dumb. Like
Yeah,
very,
her friend
very
uses them
dumb.
at the circus, and then she takes them.
They're like
they're-
the blades are like sharp nightsticks.
They might as well be just two swords, but they're
Right.
worse than two swords.
Why aren't they two swords?
Because I assume that's what the video game has, you know?
I mean, yeah, I can see how it'd be cool in a video game when, like, you know, they'll give you cool combos and stuff, but this character and actress can't do those things.
I was going to say,
it just looks dumb.
They'd be cool if you knew how to do fight choreography, I bet.
Right.
But this movie does not. It relies entirely on cutting. The fights are every blow, there's a cut. Every blow. And it gets to the point where it's like distracting. Where you're just noticing that more than anything.
It's also going way too slow. Like, the people here are fighting at normal human pace where it's actually awkward. Because real fights, you know, if you've ever seen a real fight...
they're not fighting like vampires
Right.
or even like action stars.
No, if you've seen a real fight in real life, one of the things that really hits you about it is that people are very clumsy and uncoordinated, and it gets weirdly emotional, and it's awkward.
Yeah.
That's how the fighting feels in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, like real people fighting and not in a good way.
real people.
Yeah.
To the point that Ben Kingsley is just like, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you're a vampire. You couldn't think of a better insult. All right,
That's what
fine.
he said. He said it
Yeah.
deadpanned. His eye, there was no light in his eyes as he said it. Just deadpan. You're
Oh,
an
yeah.
ungrateful bitch.
Yeah. This is like, Jesus Christ. But no, back to Street Fighter. When they visit the villain's lair in Street Fighter, he has a room that's clearly like a room for comfort.
Right.
And that movie's not good, but like that, like, it's weird how, like, I think some movies don't forget that. Where, like, I would say Mortal Kombat, another video game fighting movie, does that where whenever you cut to like the villain's lair, it's like, how are they living? They're just in like a throne room. So like that's what they're going for. They're going for that vibe. But the fact that it's not just one scene, the fact that they keep passing day after day and going back to it really shows that like you really get the feeling that he has not moved. Like he's not getting up to go to the bathroom. He doesn't have like a bedroom. He's nothing. He's just there all the time. And people walk in and go like, my lord, I must talk to you.
Pet theory, Dave. My pet theory is the montage at the end actually tells us what is happening on that throne. Like that throne is like that special plateau spot in the end of the first Lord of the Rings movie, where like the seat of seeing,
because she sits on it too. You're right.
She sits on the throne and she has this like orgasm of blood, and like I think there was also the sex there if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it's just all the extreme or violent or titillating parts of the movie get paraded in front of our eyes at the end, right? Which we'll talk about in more detail. That is what I think is happening to him. He's just going through a cacophony of memory of all the
Is he just
shitty...
watching BloodRayne?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Yeah, he's watching the movie, but he's really enjoying it. He's deeply enjoying it.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
The movie needs to say that out loud.
Of course it does. I mean,
They need to say a lot of things out loud.
I mean, if it wasn't for us, Dave, doing this investigation, this knowledge would be lost to human history.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that are going to figure it out. You know,
Right.
so yeah, we got to do it.
So Michael Madsen shows up at the circus the next day, and without talking to anyone, they just start chopping off heads and setting bodies on fire.
Nobody says a fucking word while
No one's like, "Who are you?"
They're desecrating corpses of their friends.
Yeah,
Desecrating
all the circus
them.
people are just like hanging out in the background watching.
Just like, I guess it's another corpse desecration Thursday or
like,
whatever.
Do you have a badge or something you want to show us?
A document? Anything to prove
Why
that
are
this
you
should
here?
happen. Nope. No.
Nope. And then that's when they find the friend who's like, I've been bitten. So they stab her in the gut, and I guess that kills vampires.
It kills anybody, I think. Like in this movie, a sword stab to the gut is a death sentence for everybody. Pretty much.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, again, there's nothing special about being a vampire.
Nah. Nothing
Then
special.
we get Billy Zane writing a letter.
Wow.
We learn that he's a vampire as well.
Wow. I mean, I needed to pause when this happened, Dave. I needed to pause and be like, okay, like, so I had to collect myself a few times when I was watching this movie.
Yeah,
like,
I
figure it
understand.
out. So like this was a moment where I was like, all right, so like what did we learn from any of that? And I still didn't know what this group was trying to do.
So
no idea.
No idea, but I know now what, because he's writing a letter to like his daughter. And what we learn is correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Michelle Rodriguez is supposed to be Billy Zane's daughter.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And Billy Zane is a vampire. We know because we see that he has bite marks, even though vampires heal. So
right,
not
he has
sure
a
what that's...
scar of a... Well, it's to tell us that he is a vampire. That's what we're supposed to learn. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Another thought about this movie. I don't think they had a single prosthetic fang available.
Nope.
I think there's a couple parts. There's a part where a little boy is literally like, "Show me your fangs," and she goes, "Hey," and it's just her regular teeth. They don't like CGI in fangs.
Right.
They don't. She's not wearing fangs. And the boy goes, and runs, and it's like, huh. And the reason I bring this up is because if you want Billy Zane to be a vampire, show that he has fangs. You know, do something like that.
Obviously, like let him drink blood out of a chalice. You know, like fucking everybody does.
Blood out of a chalice, nice, like easy, like subtle but not too subtle.
Well, the way that people drink in this movie, if they're a vampire, by the way, it's like they forget how fucking liquid works. They're like spilling it all over their bodies while they're drinking.
She gets a blood mustache.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Just because you drink blood doesn't mean you're a complete fucking asshole when you drink.
Yep.
Get out of here.
She gets a blood Here's the other vampires. Okay, so vampires are sexy, right?
I mean, sometimes. Not in this movie.
No, not in this movie.
But broadly, yes.
But what I'm saying, broadly, vampires are sexy.
Broadly,
and the reason why is because they dress sexily. They're
Right.
always young. They're always like in the perfect physical form.
Right.
And a lot of what they do is mouth stuff. It's like it's all mouth stuff.
It's very oral. It's an oral
big,
group.
Pouty lips and like the fangs.
Yeah.
And the blood dripping from the lips, and it's sexy. And they gave her like a 5-year-old's milk mustache.
They just
when
ruined
she drinks
the whole
blood.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you find the least sexy ways to do this? Because the movie wants to be sexy. It absolutely wants to be sexy.
It would have liked to have added sexy to its thing. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not
And
the
it
first thing it
fails.
wants to be.
It completely fails at being sexy.
Oh, yeah. No, she drinks like she doesn't understand how a cup works.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. Yeah, it's dumb and it's frustrating. Yeah, I don't know why Billy Zane is a vampire. Like, I don't know what that gets us in this story at all.
All right, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because spoilers, Michelle Rodriguez, who again, doing an accent, and I think it's because she's supposed to be Billy Zane's daughter. The thing is, Michael Madsen isn't doing an accent.
Let her be here.
Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah, because she barely speaks in the movie, and I think this might be why. Because she cannot do the accent. She can't. And that's okay.
They also have like blue contacts on her and shit. It's like, you cast Michelle Rodriguez. Let her be who she is.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if they knew who she was yet because it's 2005.
Oh, she was already in Lost.
Yeah,
She's already
they
been
should
in
have
Lost.
known. Yeah. Anyway, he writes a letter to his daughter who then will betray him or whatever.
No, she doesn't betray him. She eventually betrays her friends to him. That's what happens.
Right.
I mean, like, whether we understand that or not is a matter of discussion. But like, so this was to set up a betrayal that Michelle Rodriguez's character, Katarine, will later enact in the most ham-fisted way possible.
Right. And you would expect her to be a problem for our hero.
Right.
They do this thing where they spar early, and it's like setting up like this rivalry. And then when the showdown happens, it lasts 30 seconds.
It also, so God, I don't want to. So like when
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. I don't want to get too far down. But I want to talk about that. So Billy Zane, by the way, writing this letter thing. What we haven't said yet is that he's dictating a letter.
Yes.
To a very is the word sassy appropriate here?
He's sassy.
He's got a mildly disapproving servant who
they're like doing a bit. Like Billy Zane, they had him for a day.
Yeah.
And Billy Zane looked at it and was like, "Can I like do a bit?" And they were like, "I don't see why not." Like I got the impression that there's a few actors in this who are clearly better than the film.
Yes.
Who showed up and were like, "I'm going to do a thing."
Actually,
like because I'm bored or drunk.
Having done all the research of reading a Wikipedia page, here's the thing that will delight you to hear, Dave. So, the director thought the first script was bad, but instead of doing rewrites, just said, I'll take it and fix it. And he kind of messed with it a little bit and then couldn't get it to work. So he just turned it over to the actors to rewrite it as they felt
Wow.
like. Yeah, that's what happened here.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes.
And then the actors, they have, first of all, actors aren't writers. That isn't to say there are actors who are writers. But
that's
generally
not the same
speaking,
job. Right. That's not the same
Yeah,
job.
the example I always think of, and it delights me every time, is whenever Kevin Smith talks about working with Ben Affleck, who thinks he's hilarious and will improv. And every time he improvs, Kevin Smith will go, "Okay, cut. All right, Ben, let's do a take where you say the lines I wrote," because his improvs are always just the worst things ever.
Of course.
And Kevin Smith has to just sort of like every time be like, "Okay, cool, Ben. Now, why don't you say the lines just for safety, you know?" like, and so I think of that where it's like Ben Kingsley, for example, tremendous actor. If you had him like write some improv comedy, I bet it would be terrible. You know?
Yeah. I get.
And
What
Billy
are
Zane
we
is
going
the
to talk
same
about?
way.
I want to talk about Ben Kingsley for I want to do a whole section on him.
Yeah.
Is now the time you think for this?
I don't know. We can keep going through the movie.
All right, because I want to talk about what he's up to in this movie.
He's not up to much.
No, right. I want to speculate, Dave, as we are wont to do. Billy Zane.
I think he's her father, right? Is he her father?
That's what they say. There's problems with that I'm going to get into. Billy Zane is dictating this letter to his servant who's writing it down. His servant clearly doesn't approve of the writing of it. The servant's clearly like,
Again, they're doing a bit. Like they're breathing life into this movie.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, this is the best idea of the movie.
That's right. So the way this bit ends is that he asks the writer, "How'd you feel about the last bit?" And he says, "It was great." And he says, "You're a suck up." And then dismisses the man who seems clearly hurt. I legitimately hurt him. That's the end of their scene.
We never get them back, right?
Right.
Does Billy Zane even come back? I think he might.
Once. That's the end of their narrative for today.
Yes.
It's a terrible tragedy. I'm sorry if you can hear the chaos happening behind me in my microphone. You might
can.
Well, I think people will hear it, possibly.
Well, too bad for them.
Hey, listen. We give it to you raw. We give it to you real here.
Yeah, we do. We're raw dogs. Couple of raw dogs.
I don't think any amount of protection could have kept us from tragedy with this film. I really don't think. I don't think there was any way to keep this safe, Dave. I really don't.
So BloodRayne saves a family from vampires because again, vampires are just crawling all over this place.
Why does she do
There's
that?
just because she needs a ride, and she's like, I don't want to hurt you. She eats the vampire's blood. So again, no rules there. It doesn't matter. You know, like an interview with a vampire, you can't drink dead blood. Doesn't matter in this.
Yeah. By the way, at this point in the movie, it is not yet clear that she's not a vampire. Right? It's not.
We don't really know. We sort of assume she's special. I assumed she was special because
they say that, but you don't know how. You don't know what that means, and she's acting just like a fucking vampire. Yeah. Right? Like
she really is.
She's identical to a vampire. Also, okay, so I know that it's tedious, but I feel like we have to remember when you bite a person as a vampire and don't kill them, you've made them into a vampire. That's how becoming a vampire works. This happens over and over in this film. Nobody ever becomes a vampire. And I find that very frustrating because I want people to accidentally be vampires. You know?
Right. None of the vampire things happen.
None of them.
She gets a ride to this town.
Right.
And a psychic woman is just like, I have the plot over here. I have the plot.
Yeah. Did you need structure? I have it for you. Here's the acts.
Yeah.
Here's how they work. Yeah.
She literally asks him, why are you telling me this? And she says, because it's my purpose. She might as well say, because that's how it was written.
Because the first act must end, my dear.
Yeah, a psychic lady she tells her exactly what she needs to do. She says like there's this other vampire, or he split himself into parts. You got to she explains the entire thing while dealing tarot cards that she never looks at.
Right.
And so it's she's just reading the script.
Yeah, it feels it's the worst kind of exposition because there's no emotional motivation to anything they're saying.
Yep.
It's a real problem. Also, this woman has a California American accent.
Yes.
So, it was so why are they doing this thing with Michelle Rodriguez here?
She might as
what
well.
What are they doing?
Yes, she might as well have been Toad from Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
she just walks up to him, and Toad says, "So here's what's going on." Like, it might as well have just been that.
Yeah, did you need a star? Here you go. I got one laying around.
Yeah, here's a free star.
yeah.
And here's the castle you have to go to.
Right. That's
because
right.
it's just this psychic randomly in this town who's just like, I have information for you. I'm going to tell you what you need to do.
So, just very quickly though, the movie I think accidentally implies that when the scene starts, Rain is walking into this we'll call it a carnival of murder orgies, and it's not the same one that happens later. What's happening is it
Right.
looks like a bunch of people approaching sex workers who then turn out to be vampires and kill them. Nobody can see beyond 3 feet in front of them or to the side, so no one seems to learn that that's what's happening here. It's just happening in a row, like in a giant field, an alley, right? So what happens is
which time is this?
this is before
Okay.
Rain meets the clairvoyant
The psychic,
figure, right? So what happens is Rain decides I'm going to intervene in one of these. So she kind of gives the sexy eyes to a female vampire, who's then like, oh, okay, and then Rain just bites her in the neck, and the female vampire just lets it happen and dies. And it's
You're
very
right. That is what happens.
and it's very like, what? Why? There's no struggle
Yeah.
here. Nobody saw anything except for the psychic, who seems to see it and say, "Ah, it is you." Like that was the signal somehow between them. It was It was very unclear.
it's very unclear.
Bafflingly
It's all very
unclear.
unclear.
Yeah. Yes. Adding to that, after Rain leaves this conversation with the psychic, she's like, hurrying out of town. They have one of the funniest shots I've ever seen of somebody spying on her. It's like a close-up of a dude slowly turning to camera with the angry mug on, man. Just angry face. Slowly turning to camera. It couldn't be done funnier. There's no way to make it funnier. It's the funniest thing
It's
there's ever
wild.
been shot.
That Huey Boll is like, I could do comedy. It's like, my friend, you've been doing comedy. You just don't realize it.
Like I really thought about what could I do to make that funnier. I don't think
Yeah.
I could. I do not think it's possible. I really
There's
don't.
nothing.
Yeah.
She goes to a monastery to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she shows up and she's like, I'm a weary traveler.
I
I
need
just need a
food."
place.
Yeah.
And they set her up like a restaurant. They're
Right.
just like, the guy seats her. He
Yep.
he like brings her to a seat, and there's a lit candle, and they serve her with like a little napkins, and they're like, here's your meal. You can sleep over there when you're done. Thank you. And he walks away like a server at a restaurant.
Right.
And there's like, they even got her bread. There's bread on the
Stew.
table.
She had a pretty nice
Yeah.
stew. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, if you're a traveling wayfarer in this part of the county, it's pretty nice.
Right.
pretty cushy.
And then her bed is like a sack of potatoes. So it's like, okay, we can really feed you.
Right.
Sleeping, not so much.
Right. You came to the right place food wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes into the dungeon
Yeah.
to find the eye.
She's noticed by the rich guy from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yep. That's
Thrilled to see
Udo
him.
Kier.
I was-
Udo Kier.
I was thrilled to see him. Just
yeah,
happy
he's
to
great.
see him. Love him.
He has a great career.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
She goes into the dungeon and meets the mini boss. This is not explained.
No,
right?
I don't know what his deal is. I will say, out of all the magical creatures in this movie, I think he might be the best one to be. I really do. I think this
Yeah.
guy might be the best thing to be in this world.
Well, he's just like napping in
Yeah.
this dungeon. He is a ghoul.
Yeah.
He is a
Yeah.
melty ghoul. Like it's a bit. He's like a zombie monster. He's like a Resident Evil monster.
He looks pretty. He looks pretty close to like the orc captain from like the last two Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Looks
And to be
pretty
clear,
close to that.
Nothing in this movie looks like him, and nothing
No.
will look like
Nah,
him.
he's a one of a kind.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is a completely different kind of monster that they never explain or get back to. I don't know what he is. This is a world of vampires. And imagine like a world of like imagine Blade if then one of the henchmen was like a shark person and they never explained it.
Like I know I make this comparison a lot in my video game podcast, but I will say like this was the moment that felt the most Dark Soulsy of anything
Sure.
in this game, Or excuse me,
Well,
this movie.
my suspicion is that this is a character from the game, right?
I guess.
That's my
Must be.
guess.
Yeah,
because
must
he
be.
has a signature mallet.
Right.
And he has,
Right.
Like, it feels like, it actually reminds me a little bit of, like Mortal Kombat had Reptile in the movie. And Reptile is kind of just there, and you're like, he's different, huh?
Yeah.
Or like Baraka
Yeah.
in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where they're like, and we have a monster. And it's like they kind of have to shoehorn it in. That's what this felt like, which is like, this is clearly a game character that they felt the need to shoehorn in. But he's just guarding a monastery, and they never say, like, you got past our ghoul. Like, they never
Right.
say anything.
Right. He's not like it's never been like Brother Albus has had some trouble in the cellar. Like none of that
Right.
happens.
I'm not even
Right.
sure he works there. Like, I don't know why
they gave him a
he's
chair.
there.
They gave him a chair.
Yeah.
I feel like they've.
But he could have
let
eaten
him-
the guard and taken his place.
That's true.
He's just a monster.
That's possible.
In this dungeon.
We could have a replacement guard eaten situation. I agree. Yeah, he is unexplained. I do feel like we could have done a good 20 minutes on what his deal was, and the movie wouldn't have been worse. Like you
No,
could have
it
cut it
wouldn't have
from
been.
literally anywhere in the movie. I don't care. Cut 20
Yeah.
minutes out. Give us 20 minutes on this guy. Would have liked it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what he's doing there. If they pay him,
No.
anything.
No idea.
And he flips out and starts attacking her with a mallet, and she just smashes his fucking head in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one more extremely boring fight.
It's a really boring fight in part because the geography of it gets confusing. So like I know that people don't want to like get into too many like the weeds of this stuff, but like one
Yeah.
of the reasons why you know the fight is super fake is that like they keep cutting back to wides where they're in different spots in the room while they're fighting. So it's like
Yeah.
they're not in the same area of the room for the fight, which means they're kind of just improvising it as they go. That's what it feels like.
It really felt like it was like they gave them a day to learn like stagecraft, and then was like, all right, and then when we get to the day, we'll just cut around it a lot because again they cut on every blow.
They have
and
to.
it looks because it looks terrible. The fighting looks terrible. You and me could do better fighting. I think.
ooh.
I honestly think if you gave us like a couple days and a couple swords, I think we could film a better fight sequence.
I think you're underestimating how important it is for the viewer that the fighters appear athletic and capable. I think you're underestimating
we'd work
that.
it in.
Yeah.
No, we'd be smart enough to work that in.
Okay.
Where we'd both be out of breath, and that'd be part of the fight. Is like we'd be like no,
Yeah,
honestly, wouldn't that be
sweating
a
a lot.
great fight? A
A
great
lot of
fight
sweating.
between two people
Yeah.
just so out of shape that they constantly have to take a break.
Yeah, somebody's throwing up. Like,
Yeah.
and just like it's like, man, are they gonna make it? Like, are
Yeah.
they gonna even get
God,
through this fight?
I
don't think
want
so.
that. I want that for a fight scene so bad.
Did you ever see the fight scene in Deadwood? It was in season 3, where
Is this the one where he fights the guy
in the
outside,
street
pulls his eye?
yeah,
out?
yeah. That's the closest I've ever seen to this idea,
Yeah.
and it was brutal.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
I would say Pineapple Express has a good fight scene, which is between three people who don't know how to fight. So it's very fun. It's three
Yeah.
stoners fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, us being incredibly unathletic, and like tired, and like out of breath, and like not being able to really hurt each other because of those problems would
Yeah.
make the funniest fight of all time.
It would, but I
So-
think it would be a better. We'd be able to figure out tension in a fight scene.
Well, if
Better
if
than
so-
this.
if somebody was competent filming it, and yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna leave that standing. I just think it's incompetently filmed. You know, like
Yes.
it just isn't filmed for action. It doesn't. It's not well done. Sorry,
It's bad.
Yeah, it's
She
not great.
smashes the thing's head in and proceeds into the Blade Room, which is like a Indiana Jones style trap, which we will never have another thing like this. The next time they find an artifact, it's just in water. It's
Right.
underwater on the ground.
It really sets up this idea like, oh, there's like an ancient civilization behind this or something.
Right.
And like
And
that's
it's one more tone where I'm like, oh, is this going to be treasure hunting?
right.
No.
Right. And it's not. Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, because the cool thing about Indiana Jones is like you always feel like somebody anticipated these guys doing what they're doing. That's part of what
Right.
that's part of, and like they have to overcome that, and that's part of what raises the tension of it.
Yeah.
Like in this, it just feels like like this is a thing that happens in movies, right? So it's this scene now. Like it's
Right,
all
it's
very
either-
scattershot.
Yeah, it's either something that was in the video game or they saw Resident Evil and was like, we want a trap room. But it's so inappropriate for the rest of the film. So she goes in, she starts walking, and then a bunch of CGI blades start freaking out.
Yeah, it's a blade room. Yeah,
It's a blade room.
it's
and
it's very silly.
Yeah. And it's just like not too big. It's like not that big of a room, and she flips across it, and the blades go zip 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 by her, and then she gets the artifact. And the funniest moment is she gets it, and then just starts walking back through the room.
Right.
Like,
why did she know the blades were going to stop? Yes.
Exactly.
I wrote that down.
The blades
yes.
stop, and she knows the blades.
Yeah. How would
will
she know
stop.
that? Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because any other occasion, she just could chop the fuck up. And then the room starts flooding, and that's something that would only be bad if you're a vampire, because it floods to be ankle deep and then stops. And she has to like get on the ceiling because she put a sword on the ceiling for no reason.
Well,
I don't know why she put that sword in the ceiling.
So the swords, it seemed like, okay, I'm gonna try to explain what I think the movie was trying to do. I think what was happening is when she saw the blades were activated by motion. Again, very clearly, this is probably from a level in the game, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like something out of a video game. So she throws the blade in the room. Now, one fact about this that troubled me deeply is that she buries these swords like 6 inches deep into stone. Like the level
Just
of
by tossing
force,
them.
the level of force required for that, this woman could never have been imprisoned by anybody ever. Like it's just not possible, right? So
it's ridiculous that she's ever been in a prison.
Well, one of those things isn't true. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Later, she gets imprisoned, and it's like this shouldn't be a problem.
No, she should be able to literally hurl those gates through, like to the moon if she wanted to. Like that's how strong she is. Anyway, I think she's throwing the blades to make the blades get. She's throwing her blades to make the floor blades get triggered, so she gets to see the pattern, and then she kind of like ninja leaps using the blades embedded in the concrete over to the artifact, and then she leaps back to them to get away from the water. But then, of course, she can't. She tries to hang on the blades because, again, she buried these blades a foot into this concrete, so that they can support her fucking weight. That's how deep in them they are supposed to be.
I think that's as much sense as it can make.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe they shut off the trap because
she absorbed the eye. She absorbed the eye, and the eye made her immune to water.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay. All right.
But why is the water only ankle deep?
Dude, yep. Yeah, man.
Because
yeah, man.
If that is if this is specifically for vampires, then you're just burning their feet. They can still get out of there. Like they show that they throw water on her arm in the beginning. It doesn't melt her. It just burns her arm. So why only ankle deep? If this was for humans, ankle deep wouldn't be a problem at all for anybody.
I think if you're creating a trap to kill vampires in this world, the most obvious thing that should happen is just fill the room with light.
Yeah.
Like it's inescapable.
Or fill it with water. If the water
holy water
kills them, you have to fill it with water.
Right.
It's just weird that the water only goes ankle deep, and she's like, and has to, like, her enemy in this scene is ankle deep water. That's it. That's the big baddie now.
By the way, is it holy water?
No, I think it's just water.
Okay.
Because at the circus, they just say, like, water burns her, and they throw water on her.
Are you sure it wasn't holy water?
I hope it's holy water because otherwise, anytime it rains,
they're
in trouble.
Right. I'm thrilled by the idea that some priest somewhere in this abbey has to like bless just vats of water in order to keep this trap working. Like
but
they
again,
have to do it.
It's not that much water. I can't stress this enough. It's ankle deep, and it's not like Wicked Witch rules.
Right.
Like, it just isn't.
Right. God,
I don't know.
I'm so deeply depressed that this is the first one. Like, I'm so depressed that there are two more of these.
Adam, this is as good as the movies
I
will
know.
get.
I know.
Ben Kingsley is certainly not going to be in the other ones.
Yeah.
They're not going to get any celebrities.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be a downgrade after downgrade.
They didn't even keep her. Like, even the main character didn't come back.
Yeah. Why would she?
I don't know, man. It's I know. It just sometimes you got to sit there and really think about what you did.
Yeah, it's a real bummer.
Really got to think about what you did.
This is a real bad time we're having.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible. Like I was just like really bummed out. I was really bummed out at this point.
It's a real bummer.
There's another funny. There's like a couple of really funny lines that happen in here that I didn't write down, but I did write down the impression they made on me, which is this movie absolutely feels like any moment it could have turned into a porn film. Like literally any moment it could have happened.
It all feels like it definitely has the vibes of a porn film without the porn.
Yeah, like any minute,
like a porn
it could
parody.
Happen.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So the eye, she has the eye. It falls, and now this is when things get confusing. So the eye looks into her eye and then becomes her eye?
Right, she absorbs it, is what's explained later.
Like, it's like 2001 Space Odyssey,
a little bit.
Scene.
Yeah.
Where they do it in this really abstract way. Like, you don't see it turn into CGI and like suck into her skull. It's just the reflection of the eye is in her eye until her eye is now the eye.
Right, and then they don't...
Later, they're like, we have to cut that eye out.
Right.
And it's like, why can't you just magic it out?
Yeah,
like
why don't you
magicked
stare at
her?
it? Yeah, why don't you do an eye stare? That's what she fucking did. You seem to know something of the procedure here, sir. So, that's weird.
Yeah.
Also, like, they don't always give the eye color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes she has the color of the eye, and sometimes she doesn't. And I couldn't figure out if
some
that
days
meant
they didn't have the
anything.
contact.
No, I think
or
it's,
they didn't want to do
I think
the
it's always
CGI.
CG. Yeah, I think it's always
Yeah.
CGI, and like they just missed it a bunch of times. And
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out what that was supposed to mean.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it was supposed to mean anything.
I don't know either. Hey, I'm just trying. I'm trying to find the meaning here, Dave. I'm really trying.
Yeah. She gets out. Udo Kier is suddenly her friend. There's like a fight sequence that is one of the most lackluster fight sequences considering how much gore is happening.
It's atrocious.
Like
atrocious.
a man gets lazily cut in half, if I recall.
Yeah, like it's very clear like they didn't quite time it just right. So like he's like he's getting stabbed and then he's like like waiting for the half to fall, like the bottom half to fall, revealing
all the gore effects, the people all look like annoyed or confused.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy who has his face stabbed. And he's just sort of like wincing a little bit as the sword is
like,
supposed
ouch!
to be through his face. Yeah. Like they all seem like it feels like every shot ended with the director going cut and the actor going, that was the take?
Yep.
Oh.
I thought we were rehearsing.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought we were rehearsing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like every shot in the fight sequence is really ultimately designed to see an arm get chopped off or to see a throat get slit.
Right.
Or a blood splash somewhere, even if the blood splash is impossible or unmotivated or unclear. Doesn't matter.
And
the
to
shot's
their credit,
there for that.
it's practical. But
It's all practical,
I think that's what fucked them up because it looks like every time they show one, it looks like everybody involved is more focused on getting the effect to work than to like act it out.
I mean,
that's what it looks like.
I think what you're learning from that is how what the director's focus was. Like to me, like so, and I mean, in a sense, that's obvious, right? It's like, well, yeah, because he cares about the effects. But I think what's happening is that probably behind the scenes, the director is so clearly FX focused that everyone's brains are attached to getting that right, and he's not focused on the scene; he's focused on the effect, which therefore makes the scene not make sense. You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's how it looks to me. And it's, by the way, it's an easy thing to do if you're really into effects or if you're not experienced with effects.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like it's really easy to get really worried about how's this thing going to come off. Like how will the effect go over and not think about does it feel like it's part of the scene?
Right? Am I selling it? Yeah.
Right. Like is the emotion here? Because that's what it's really about. And the answer
atrocious.
The answer is no. The emotion.
I've never seen.
there.
Yeah, I've never seen this level of gore be this boring.
Yep, I was bored. Absolutely bored. Yeah.
I wrote down Meatloaf.
Oh no, man, you're missing a thing.
What am I missing?
I wrote down when did the Madsons get here because the Madsons just show up.
Right.
They just and it's like, wait, how did they find her? Like I couldn't.
No idea. Yeah, no idea.
And why are they killing people here? Like the Madsons just run in there and start wrecking shop on the thralls, who I believe are from the karate instructors team who works for Ben Kingsley. There's 3 factions here.
Yeah, and it's unclear.
Yeah.
It's very unclear.
Yeah.
Udo Kier's faction, I'm just like, what are these monks?
Yeah, why?
They're just like, we are guardians of this vampire eye.
Of the eye.
And then And then they aren't sort of involved later. Like I don't
they're
think
done.
they ever come back.
Once
Yeah,
the eye
they're
gets
done.
absorbed, they all like go off and become attorneys or plumbers or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're done.
We never see them again.
Their religious order has been absolved. Like they just they find new meaning in life, man. That's it.
Yeah.
You know? That's right. I mean, most of them are dead though, to be clear. The vast majority of them die in this ridiculous
Oh, yeah.
fucking blood orgy.
Doesn't go great for them.
Yeah, I did. So you mentioned the slicing in half. I just wrote down the slicing in half was deeply funny because it was. It gave me a belly laugh.
Yeah, it's this guy like, oh,
Yes.
like falling
Also,
slowly.
the
Like,
literal-
it's slowly
the-
falling in half.
The actual funniest thing I saw in this movie happened in this sequence, which is why I'm slowing us down. There
Yeah.
was a man who was he was bloody on the ground with entrails. His entrails exposed to the universe, right?
Oh, when they're just
and they're
beating
just
his
beating his
entrails?
entrails.
That was the funniest
Just hitting
fucking
him.
thing. Because that comes back at the end too.
She sees it
They
again.
really wanted us to see that, and that is like a Monty Python bit. Because I don't. Okay, that is. It's
Why
like,
would you
it's
do that? Why would you
It's
do
the
it?
Monty Python. It reminds me of like in Monty Python when in Holy Grail,
Yeah.
whenever you see a peasant
Yeah.
and they just be like slapping a cat against a tree or like slapping mud or something, because that's what it feels like. It's such a slapstick idea.
It
which
was-
is like, okay, the man is chopped in half. His entrails are everywhere. He's done.
He's done. That's it. Yeah, he's
Yeah, you're
enough.
all set.
Yeah,
You don't need to kick at his entrails. He's not even feeling that.
it was
like
no,
there's
nobody could feel it.
Yeah.
It was breathtaking. Like I wheezed, laughed. I laughed very hard at it. I had to stop.
Yeah.
I took a brief 10-minute walk. You know, just I did. I'm serious. Brief 10-minute walk. Stopped laughing at it and like wrote it down. I almost texted you. I almost was like, but I'm like, I'm not gonna spoil anything. There's no reason for it. It doesn't make any sense. I can't understand what motivated that. Like, because you ball behind the camera just being like, yes, punch the entrails, punch them.
I think
I can't figure it out.
okay, so
Yeah.
it's not done for comedic reasons. If this was
Well-
a comedy, I know exactly why
right.
they did it.
Right. Yes.
I think the idea was to show this. He wanted this to be gnarly. He wanted it to be gory and over the top. Like he wanted that.
Yeah. Clearly.
And so I think the thought is like he wanted a bloodbath, and he wanted it to look like horrific and like this horrific, like terrifying battle, like a medieval battle, like something Game of Thrones would do. But he's not good enough.
No.
He's just not good enough.
Yeah, he's not. No.
And so he was like, what if they're like beating this guy until he's mush? And that I think that's what he wanted. But like he should have showed someone like if he had showed that same idea, but he's being trampled and people are running over him. There you go, right? It's like
Dude,
they're not purposefully doing it.
No. I mean, yes, you're right in that does make more sense.
That's
no,
a better idea.
No, in the
version,
sense
yeah.
that no, we just don't need to see this. Like, we just don't need it.
Of course,
You know what I mean?
But I'm saying I think that's what he was trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. I think the thing to take away from it that I take away from it is that like this is a bad sensibility. The
Yeah.
sensibility here is bad because that's
Is there
not
a way-
thing that should have been in the movie for like that made any sense.
Yes. People listening should Google this. Don't watch
Yeah.
this movie.
No,
Brad.
don't watch
I don't
it.
know
It's
if,
bad. Yeah.
I don't know. We should have explained that at the top of this. Don't watch this movie. But like try to find like the battle sequences, the gory sequences. We watched the unrated version, so I hope
couldn't
it's
tell
still...
couldn't tell what the difference there would be. I mean, I would say I don't think even people who watch movies that are bad and laugh at them will like this because it's not
I
like
wouldn't necessarily
comically
do this on,
stupid.
I wouldn't necessarily do this on a Friday night.
Right.
Like a movie night. Because there's some stuff to laugh at, Billy Zane's hair. There's these moments, but then it was hard to pay attention to this movie.
Yep, it was profoundly dull for lots of it.
Yeah.
I have two more comments about this fight sequence because there was
Sure.
so much going on. Another thing, and it's a directing thing, but it really bothered me, was there were tons of times that Michelle Rodriguez's character was helping Michael Madsen's character out, and I never
Yeah.
knew where they both were in relationship to each other.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
spatially. Like I was
The
confused.
fights are nonsense, yes.
I was confused about the geography to the point where I was like, oh, like where where like my mind got tripped up about what happened briefly, like for a half a second, because I didn't know where they were geographically, and that's a thing that like they talk about endlessly in film school, endlessly for reasons that are like, oh yeah, because it really trips you up, you know. So there's that.
Yeah.
And I think probably the most important observation I'm going to make in this whole movie is this one. And that is Michael Madsen really looked like he had a hurt knee or a hurt ankle or something. Like he just looked physically uncomfortable the whole time.
He's the Robert Mitchum of our time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like he's got that Mitchum
he
attitude where he's a scary guy. If they ever remake Cape Fear for a third time, he would be a good Mitchum.
Oh, my God. He'd be so good. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got that, I'm a scary guy and like I am threatening. But he is not a martial arts master.
No.
He is not a sword fighter. This is not the way he's scary. He's scary in the I'm going to put my thumb in your eyes way. Or I guess I'm going to cut off your ear.
Like in a Tony Soprano way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't work for him to be like a plucky good guy who then has to like run around and fucking sword fight. He looks constantly like he's going to die.
Yeah,
of a heart
he looks
attack.
uncomfortable.
Like he does. Yeah, he does not look good.
He just looks his age. You know what I mean? He's like probably in his late 50s here, I would think, or like mid 50s.
And again, I mean, Keanu Reeves, he's in his 50s. It's about who you are. Like again,
he's an action star though. Keanu Reeves is in peak pinnacle condition.
Michael Madsen is a specific. He's like Steve Buscemi or any other character actor, where you use him for a specific thing. He is not this. And again, it's not. I mean, there's a world where you could make a version where, for example, cut his hair. Don't give him long, flowy hair. Make him more of like a gritty, like a rogue type, like with a pistol or something.
Right.
Like he's not this like young, spry, like vampire hunter. Like, but you could take him and put him in the same role and change the role to fit him. Right.
I think that
they didn't do that.
I mean, I think that they would have had to. I think Michael Madsen would have needed to be motivated by the script and the act and the director and all this stuff to like really get into shape and like, you know.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you could change the character in a way where like he's like a gritty priest, you know, where
if he
like
never fights,
do something.
If he doesn't fight.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
He never fights, or like maybe he has a gun and maybe he's like he only fights when he's in a corner. He's maybe stabs someone every now and then. You know what I mean? Like he's not a sword swashbuckler, not in this form and with this budget and with whatever they paid him. They should have fundamentally changed. What happened, I imagine, is Uwe Boll was like, I have Michael Madsen. That's what happened, right?
100%.
Michael Madsen's people said yes. So let's put him in the movie.
He should have been if I was him, I would have been thrilled that Michael Madsen said yes to this. Michael Madsen is very clearly a much better actor than everybody else in this film, except for Ben Kingsley, who is horrible in this film, but like in general is a great actor.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those roles where you're like, why would he do good?
No.
Why would he try?
No. I gotta go. I like he was very, very bad in this.
Sure.
Like, as in, like, I think it was a choice. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about. So whenever we get to that part, I want to talk about
Okay, we'll wait.
Yeah, okay. Actually,
we're going to get to
We might be here
Meatloaf.
now. Oh, okay, then we're here now because there's an interstitial scene between this and Meatloaf where I think it's just to remind us that Ben Kingsley's in this movie where they just open a door and a young 20-year-old woman is thrown in there.
And where is Ben Kingsley right now?
And Ben Kingsley is on the throne, having his
throne, in his room.
blood visions, right?
And this is where we learn he's a vampire. I think this is the point of this scene, but
maybe. Yeah, I think we knew it before because they say it, but it's the first time we see it.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
So it's possible. By the way, I would never blame you or me for not retaining a thing they said. I'm sorry, no, that's they don't.
Of course.
They don't deserve for us to understand their plot. So this woman walks in the room and he's like, "Don't be afraid," which is like, well, she should be. And then he's like, "Come here." And then she just kind of walks over, then lazily lets him bite her, and she dies.
Yeah.
And neither person seemed even remotely interested in it.
No.
They were both
it felt weird.
purely
I'm
bored.
imagining being like a 20-year-old Like, she might have been a model. She could have been an actress.
Yeah,
I don't know.
sure.
And being told you're going to do this scene with Ben Kingsley, and you probably have to Google who Ben Kingsley is because you're 20. And it's
That's
just like,
possible.
yeah, it's possible. And it's like the MMA fighter dude, where I'm like, why are these people doing scenes with Ben Kingsley? Give him Michael Madsen. Like, give him somebody who has an acting background, for the love of God.
It's not her fault. It's
not her fault.
This is my
It's
big
never her
contention. So this is my contention. So I think Uwe Boll's influence as a director who's not good with performance is most evident in that scene.
Yeah.
Because neither of them seem to understand the underlying drama of why it's there. Neither of them know what's happening
doing this
here.
scene where a woman is giving herself to be murdered. She should be sad. There should be something where it's like, oh, my family's going to be better off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Reasons.
And they both just sort of passionately do this scene.
Right.
Where he's just like, I'm going to bite you, and she's going to get bitten, and that's it.
Now, here's my guess on what happened with Ben Kingsley. My guess is that Ben Kingsley was performing this as if he long ago lost all human feeling. That's what I think he's trying to do. He's trying to create a character that long ago lost their humanity.
That checks out, yeah.
And like, the problem is that kind of character reads as the most passionless, joyless, confusing rendering of these lines, and it doesn't make sense ultimately.
Yeah, and then you need to show that in some way. Like,
Right.
they don't
You have to give us a
really
clue.
show that.
Yeah.
Like, her crying and sobbing would help, but also, like, do something where he just doesn't care if people close to him die. You have to work it into the plot somehow. And they don't.
And also, it's just a decision that doesn't work. Like, I've seen it done in other movies, and it didn't work there either. For instance,
Yeah.
have you ever seen, I mean, I know you have, Castaway? Did you see Castaway?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom Hanks in that movie, spoilers for Castaway, you had 20 years, this is on you. He gets trapped on an island for 4 years, right? Like on a deserted island. So then, he had a fiance and like a whole life before he gets trapped there. So then they have this scene where he comes back, he gets back to regular life, and he has a kind of reunion with his fiance, who has now married somebody else and moved on. And they have all these lines that are very emotional and dramatic. Like, they're very intense, what he's saying and like the things that have happened. But the problem is that Tom Hanks rightly interpreted that the character would no longer know how to express emotions because of the trauma that happened.
By the way, you say spoilers, but I don't know if you remember this. They reveal it in the trailer.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so good.
Yeah,
So
which
it's not a
really,
spoiler.
like, I was like, well, fucking why?
Yeah.
But, all right.
So like, he does this scene with Helen Hunt, and she's doing a classic painful reunion scene, and it's very good. He's doing a traumatized person who doesn't know how to express his emotions, and he's not written that way. And it's like, what is happening in the scene? It feels so weird and uncomfortable, and like does not dramatically satisfy. It's the same choice, right? It's like the same like buried emotion that doesn't come out. And
right, where it's like, it might be a realistic choice, but it doesn't,
but
unless
it's wrong
you're
for the
doing
movie.
the work.
Right.
Yeah, you're doing the work to explain that. Yeah.
It's just not, like, if you're going to do that with Ben Kingsley, and who's very up to the task, by the way, then I think you have to like really sit there and marinate in his darkness.
Yeah.
And
but
we don't.
We're not going to do any of that.
Nah, we're not going to do any of that. So I just wanted to say that because, like, sometimes I feel like people, they can see why the movie's not good, right? You can see that it's a bad movie for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but
like,
it's fun to explain why.
Yeah, but like as a director, it's actually those scenes where you see the real problem with the directing.
For sure.
You know, that the underlying circumstances don't make sense. Okay, so we can continue. Thank you, Dave.
Okay. Meatloaf.
God, Meatloaf
she
in a
gets
wig.
kidnapped and brought to Meatloaf.
Who
I guess she's going to be a sex slave. That Michael Madsen, they have not crossed paths yet with her. It's like an hour in, and these are the two heroes, and they have not crossed paths. They're outside.
Well,
and Michael
they were
Madsen,
they were at the fight. They were at the fight, but
Right.
they never actually met.
They actually never met. Yeah.
Right.
Michael Madsen and his mullet pal. He's like, shoot the guards.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just shoots the guards one by one. Nobody reacts.
Nobody notices that they are clearly there aiming bows at them.
It's broad daylight. Daylight.
Yeah, it's absurd. I wrote down every guard in this movie is a video game NPC with the slightest, narrowest sight cones you've ever seen. They're absurd.
Yep.
Okay.
Meatloaf is... What is Meatloaf doing? So he's a vampire.
What is
But
he
he's
doing?
awake during the day.
Yeah.
Why is he even up? He is dressed, again, like Orgy Santa. He has a Santa, like, hair and beard, and, like, he even has, like, red on, like a vest.
He's actually...
He has an accent that is impossible.
He is truly wonderful to behold in this movie. Like, it's just...
He's Jabba the Hutt, basically.
Yeah, he's just... It's like, man, good for you. You know, like, I'm just so glad that you're doing this. Like, wow.
But they could have cut him completely out of the
Didn't
movie.
need to be in the movie. None of it.
Madsen, they could have run into each other at the previous scene. They were there together.
Right.
It
Didn't make
makes sense
Yeah.
for them to run into each other there and like be like, let's team up. No. She gets kidnapped, brought to Meatloaf. Meatloaf is doing a ridiculous, like, I guess a fancy man accent, like not British, but and they go in.
He's a little bit of a... He's like a Fauntleroy type character. And I know, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just like sort of that, again, the old English foppish character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
He's just dripping with tits.
He's like
just
buried
naked
in
ladies
nude
everywhere.
women. Buried in
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like Meatloaf was like, I'll do it for that price point, but I have one condition. Like, that's what it like they...
Oh, I don't want to
know.
blame him for it.
No, I know. But it's ridiculous.
It does feel like somebody insisted on it, though. That I agree with. I just don't want to blame it on him.
Yeah, I don't think it was him.
I can't. If I was an actor, like even a rock star like him, I don't want to be in this situation.
No, it's an uncomfortable
Seems
thing
awful.
to do.
He's got to like smear blood on somebody's breast that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
and it's like all these lights and he's sweaty and he's probably like that's the thing, he's working. So it's like even if he was like, oh yeah, I like naked ladies, you wouldn't want to be around them when you're like sweaty and trying to remember your lines and like in a room full of
miserable.
people.
Right.
Yeah, it's miserable. And he seems miserable. And then he just gets killed because they shoot out the windows because he's in a room with windows in daylight.
Didn't make sense. Also, they put the worst fight together of all the possible fights here. Like, the two people I don't want to see fight are Michael Madsen and Meatloaf because neither of them
are doing okay.
Yeah, neither of them are really at the place in life where they should be doing this.
No,
you know, I don't want to see that.
They are not in shape.
Yeah,
this is not a fight you want to see.
No,
unless that's the point. Unless you deadwood it, but they don't. It's not fun.
There would be
a bummer.
There's a really funny movie to be made where they're constantly giving you the wrong fight.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like I felt like this movie accidentally did it, but there's a really funny movie to be made where like the attractive, interesting looking fighting people never fight, and it's always the middle-aged guys. You know, doing it badly. That's a funny.
Or
idea.
like, you cast Donnie Yen as like the tech guy who's always in the chair. I would love to do that. Actually, I think that'd be a great movie.
That's a funny, dumb movie. Like I'd be into that.
You keep casting all these action stars to be like the people in the room, like telling the action stars what to do. Yeah,
typing on the computer. Just exactly. Like trying to help them out.
That'd
be pretty good, man. It's a pretty good bit. Yeah. Also, like another thing that Michael Madsen does to kind of that I think is like the equivalent of his mannerisms in Reservoir Dogs is he's constantly like, tossing the sword back and forth between hands.
Yeah,
you know, but it all it does is it reinforces how bad the sword looks. You know, what I mean?
Good.
You keep looking at it like, God, that's a bad sword.
I can't stress how bad the swords are.
They look like mirror shines.
Yeah,
they're just not. Yeah, it's not good. Why? So this is the point where I wrote down, what do the Madsens want?
Yeah,
what do they want?
It seems like ultimately, do they want the same thing? They're just like, we're also mad at Ben Kingsley.
Yes.
I think he killed Mullet's family.
Yes.
We
learn that later. So, like, I think at some point here they say, and they might have said it in the first act of the movie, but honestly, no, I don't accept it. I don't care. You can point to the line. I don't care. It's not clear. That they are trying to clear the world of vampires who are overrunning everything.
Right.
But like, you don't really know that. So again, you're following them and you're like, I assume
they
matter.
also, if that's true, like they establish, so one of the first things we see is they stab a guy in the gut at a bar because he's a vampire, right? Mm-hmm. And now they're faced with a vampire, a half vampire that they're teaming up with. You would think there would be conflict.
They're trying to team up with. They have not yet done so.
Right. But you would think they'd like, oh, I hate you, vampire, but we got to team up. And her being like half human and like, I hate
don't
vampires
trust you.
too.
Yeah.
When they go to the village, which I don't know why they knew, they're like, oh, everybody here knows you. It's a community. And I'm like, who are these people?
Right.
What is this place?
Right.
They never say, welcome to so-and-so.
That's
Welcome
right.
to our village.
They don't.
There's never that moment because the movie just keeps going from set piece to set piece.
Yes.
That you don't think there's any significance in them. They never introduce the location. But they're like, it's okay. They're not scared of you. And so there's never a conflict where someone's like, oh, you dirty vampire. Like, no one is ever bothered by her being a vampire. And all they're doing is setting up the idea that they would be.
Right. And like to Twilight's credit, and yes, I did say that, Twilight's credit, they at least make dramatic fodder out of, hey, this half human, half vampire is like an abomination. We got to destroy it, or we got to protect it, or figure out what the deal with it is, right? Like they make drama of it.
They seem to act like she's special, but they never explain. Like Ben Kingsley in the flashbacks when she kills her mom, he's like, "Where's the girl?"
Right?
And it's like, why? Because at the end they're just like, "We're gonna cut your eye out and let you live here," and like you're not special.
So
like it's so confusing.
And it leads to another really important question. And that question is, so we see the flashback several times. We see it in its entirety at some point, right around this point in the movie.
Yeah.
When she is joined, like she joins the Madsons and goes to the secret city that's like safe. Okay, that's the idea.
Yeah.
So we have the whole flashback here.
Yeah, they grab her and wrap her into a carpet because it's daytime. And I thought, why don't vampires do that all the time? But sure, whatever.
Yeah.
And they drag her away. So that's the end of Meatloaf.
Right. Yeah, Meatloaf gets burned to death and, and is presumably mourned by his many nude companions, and we leave that group forever, and that's it. So so they arrive at the secret city. The point of the city, I learned on Wikipedia, is that it's like a haven where the vampires have not yet reached.
Okay,
right?
That's good to know because they don't explain.
They don't explain that, right? So like
and again, it just cuts to them in a building,
in another building.
You're like,
right?
Yeah, and you're like, okay, is this a tavern? Like, what is this? They never explain it. And then at a certain point, they start having like this, like love for the village and the people around it. And I was like, wait, do they have a connection here? And they just never introduce that.
And it eventually becomes clear. Oh, Michael Madsen runs this town. Like this is his town. But like it's really,
would be
really
great
muddy.
for them to. Yeah, it would be. You just have a scene where he shows up and everybody's like, "You're back, sir, you're back. We love you." And her being like, "What is this place?" And them explaining because that's how movies are supposed to do.
Right.
Like she's a fish out of water. You can have them explain, "Oh, this is whateversburg, non-vampiresville."
Right.
And I am the king here. Like there needs to be some, but no, they just like cut and they're there, and we don't even know we're in a special place.
That's right.
Yeah.
We do learn that they want to kill Kagan. So again, this flashback. So this flashback is important for logical reasons. So the flashback, and this is her flashback, is she remembers the moment that Kagan, played by Ben Kingsley, so actually he does go in a second room. This is the other room that he goes in.
You're right.
Murders,
this is the second room.
Rapes, and I'm putting that in quotes because it doesn't seem like they actually have sex. But I can accept it. I'm just saying that.
I think what happens is those were two different. She says, "This is the man who raped and murdered my mom."
So the rape was a different time. And I think
what actually happens is the rape maybe was her conception, and the murder came later.
Okay.
I think that's what
I can accept that.
is actually happening. Yeah, no, it was confusing. Listen, I'm so glad the movie doesn't show sexual violence. There was a moment where I was like,
"Me too. I don't want to see
movie's
that.
Not good."
I don't want to see
and
that.
this movie isn't good enough to earn anything close to that.
I don't trust them to do it right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they just show him killing her. And my guess is because she was the product of that sexual violence years ago.
That's what it
sounds
sounds
my
like.
guess.
Okay, I can accept that. So that point we can lay aside. The bigger issue is Rain is half human, half vampire. But when her mother gets killed, she does a vampire face. When she's getting the blood drunk out of her, she briefly turns into a vampire face.
The mom
does. Yes. The mom
doesn't make
does.
sense.
I know.
She's the human side
I
of the
know.
equation.
That's exactly the problem. I was like, so
both
wait,
vampires?
is she not
What's
really
happening?
half vampire? What
Is she
happened?
like a quarter vampire on her grandfather's side?
Right,
Is
like-
that what's going on?
Yeah, is this an ethnicity now?
1/16th vampire?
I don't understand what we're doing here. Like, it
I don't know.
seemed like a mistake.
You'd never know because being a vampire isn't impressive. So,
Nah.
you know.
No, it's not impressive. It's not awesome in any way. But also, they fucked it up. They legit fucked it
did.
up.
Or it's something that we don't understand. That the
could be.
game can,
Like,
I don't know.
they all briefly have vampire face when they're getting their blood sucked. I don't know, man.
Whatever
they
it
don't
is,
show
they
that.
didn't explain it, and it's bad.
Yeah, so whatever it is, it convolutes what she is.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
and
a real
again,
problem.
I can't stress this enough. That scene when he kills the mom, he says, "Where's the girl?" And later they keep talking about her as being special. And when she is, spoilers, finally kidnapped, they just want to tear out her eye and just dump her in a ditch. And so, like, you watch Blade, where he's a daywalker, and what you reveal at the end is we want Blade. We want his blood. Like, he's special, so we want him. And they keep setting that same idea up as, like, she's special. She's the one. Because they're like, we take her alive. Everybody wants to take her alive and stuff. And at the end, they just want the eye.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah. And, like,
So what did he...
Her plan, by the way, her plan is to get this important artifact and from that, quote-unquote, gain an audience with Kagan. Now, as I understand it, from the flashbacks, he already wants an audience with her.
Exactly.
So, like, this
And then,
is not a real
again,
problem.
And for what reason?
Right.
Why? Just because she's his daughter? Because then when they meet each other, he's not like,
he doesn't give a
"Join
shit.
me."
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he seems to, in all the flashbacks in every scene, he seems to want to meet with her. Then once he meets with her, he treats her like he doesn't know her. That she's just garbage.
Right.
And she just has this artifact that he wants. That's it.
That's right.
It's really weird.
So it's around this time that while trading sorrow fantasies in the prison,
Hold on.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
going to get to the fucking, aren't
Yes,
you?
I am. Yes. Did you want to say
I just
something?
want to know
Okay.
that they get to the city and
Yeah.
they start and now your training begins.
Oh,
and I was
and
like,
it was
what?
so boring.
And there's a training montage.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. Does she need training? Is she Luke Skywalker?
I didn't understand
Like, why
it.
are we
Yeah.
training her?
Yeah.
And she spars with Michelle Rodriguez, and they set up this rivalry that you think is going to matter. That's all.
It
But,
doesn't really matter.
I don't know why she's training. The fighting doesn't get any better or worse after this.
Right. So briefly, while they're exchanging quips, because this is also intercut with this montage of her training for the war, I guess.
Yeah.
They're training, like, she's like sort of training barbarous quips, like it's a Jane Austen novel all of a sudden.
Yeah.
With Sebastian, who is the mullet guy, Mullet Madsen, Sebastian. Okay.
Right.
So he says, I learned from my father pretty quick the following wisdom: keep your friends close and your enemies even closer.
And she doesn't have the heart to tell him, like, your
like-
father stole that.
Yeah, I've seen
That's
The
not-
Godfather.
He didn't make that up.
Right.
He didn't make that up.
So your father watched The Godfather? Is that what you're saying? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Absolute nonsense.
I
Beautiful gibberish.
just couldn't. I took another break. I stood for a little bit. I like. I went. I poured myself some water and drank a whole glass. Really thought about what it meant.
We ancient monks here in the 1700s have a saying: we're gonna make them an offer they can't refuse. Like, that's what it is. It's just like, what the fuck?
My father used to say when I'd enter the room, "You had me at hello, son."
Oh, yeah, it's
really
incredible.
bad.
Incredible.
Really, really bad. Yeah, I had to take a real break after that.
Yeah.
Needed to recover. It was a big moment. So after I recovered, I continued watching and learned that they have a sex scene. The sex scene,
So,
prompted
these
by
two-
nothing, prompted by
Yes.
genitals, I guess.
They barely know each other. They
other.
barely know. They never, and even if okay, we can accept, people fuck. People fuck who
I can
barely
accept
know
that.
each other.
Yeah.
There is no flirting. There is no attraction ever shown. And then they're just in this dungeon together, and she just gets up and starts fucking him.
It's not even
and
the
I
desperate.
was just like, what?
It's not even the desperate act of like we're gonna die tomorrow or something.
No,
It's not even that. Like, there's no underlying reason for it. It's just like, I guess we both have parts. You want to see if they fit?
it's like we need a sex scene.
It's really bad and dumb.
Yeah, I've always wanted a sex scene because here's people. There's a lot of unmotivated
what's
sex
that
scenes in
mean?
movies, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of
Yeah.
but like all you have to do in any given movie is that the two characters look at each other and go, "So we're like movie star hot,
Right.
huh?
We
should probably fuck."
Yeah. We've earned the right to.
Yeah,
You know.
we're like super young and hot.
Yeah.
you have anything to do in the next hour? No, let's fuck.
Right.
Like they could get away with that, but again, it's supposed to. It's like she's from here on. They're like boyfriend and girlfriend. She cries when he dies. Again,
Yes.
he dies. Spoilers.
That's right.
And it's like why? Why? There's no emotional connection. And this sex scene, that's what it is. Is that they're? It's not like some quick dirty fuck. It's like supposed to be emotional. And so she fucks him against like a jail cell.
It looks really uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like, it really looks
she-
uncomfortable.
She goes topless. She has her shirt ripped over, and I was like, "Man, you listen. It's your body. You can do whatever you want. I don't know if that's worth it for the movie like this. But then again, maybe this actress just like, I don't give a fuck. What does it matter? You know, like she might not care.
I just felt bad because like it was so clearly like a softcore scene.
Yeah,
You know, and like
but
that was a bummer, I thought.
it was more hard to watch, not because of the aspect of like nudity for such mediocrity. It's more of like it's a bad sex scene.
Yeah.
The faces they make are weird
Yeah.
and confusing.
Yep.
It's like they've never had sex before. And again, they've been fighting and sweaty. She hasn't changed her outfit the entire film.
Nope.
That
Same
needs to be
outfit.
stated.
And it's really, really dumb. The outfit is
Yes.
like nobody would ever have worn that ever in
Yeah.
history until 2002, maybe.
Yeah.
Never
And
would have
they're
happened.
just they're disgusting, and it's like whatever sex you just had, your genitals might fall off because of it. Like you're in this disgusting basement, and you're wearing the same clothes for weeks and months and years.
Yep.
And you're sweaty and you're disgusting. Like at least get a bed.
Yeah.
At least take
clean
showers.
up a little. Yeah.
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 It's so weird and
It's gross. It's really gross. It doesn't seem hot. It seems like, and maybe
No,
I'm a
it's
little bit
not
old,
hot.
I guess. It's not shot well. She keeps like banging the prison door with her like shut.
Yeah,
With her
she's
arm,
like
it's
she's like
what?
humping him, and it's barely sex. Like it's like this weird dry humping because they don't do the thing that a sex scene requires, which is like the zipping sound or
Right,
anything.
right.
Like for all I know, she's just dry humping his leg with her boobs out because they never like you. You can infer. You can
see it.
infer that sex is happening.
Right. You
Because-
see her ripping his pants down and her taking her.
Oh,
off.
okay, so that happens.
But you don't
okay.
see it. You just like see the motion of it. You know.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's just very awkward and yeah, it's a real bummer.
it's not awesome. It doesn't seem sexy. So traumatized by this, I went to the internet, Dave, and was like, "Who is
Watch
this?
some-
Who is this actor?"
Okay, yeah.
The actor. It turns out this actor played Warren from Legally Blonde. He is the love interest from Legally Blonde.
This poor man.
Reese
poor
Witherspoon
man.
disavowed him while she became a Harvard Law graduate, and this
Does
is
he
where
have a
he
career
fell
at
to.
all?
He's been in stuff, yeah. He's been in stuff.
Okay, I haven't looked into the Terminatrix who's BloodRayne, but like as far as I'm concerned, she got to play a robot in a Terminator film.
That's
like
cool.
she's
That's
yeah,
fine.
exactly. It's like even if that was the only thing she ever had, it's pretty good. It's better than what I've done, you know? She got to fight Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I don't know
in
if
a
it is
Terminator
better,
film.
Dave. I'm not sure if that's better. It's cool.
It's
though.
pretty cool.
It's cool. I don't want to take it away from her. And like I don't want to take this away from her. Like it's hard, man. You know, like and honestly, like I think it takes. I don't know what it would take for an actor to be superlative in this role. Again, like
Right.
they need to work. You know what I mean? So like she probably needs to work. She works. And like, you know, you're at the mercy of a person who may or may not know what they're doing. And if they don't know what they're doing, as an actor, you're out of control. And so like you can look really bad.
Yeah.
You know, like that's possible to look really like a great actor to look really bad. Look at Ben Kingsley.
Oh, yeah.
In this movie.
No one comes out of this looking good.
Well, and that's what happens when you have a bad director.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm not here to like laugh at this guy. I just think that's a funny time to learn that fact.
Yeah, that's wild.
It was like,
It's a wild fact.
Yeah. It just, you know, a movie that's much better, by the way. I can't recommend Legally Blonde enough compared to this.
Compared to this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Legally Blonde has better fight scenes than this.
That might be fucking
And
true.
I'm not even sure if there is a fight scene.
It
in
might be
Legally
true.
Blonde. Even if it doesn't have a single fight scene, it still has better fight scenes than this.
Yes, that absolutely might be true.
Yeah.
So
the sparring is continuing, and
sparring continues. They end up setting off on a mission, and Michelle Rodriguez's character is quote unquote upset about Vladimir's loosey-goosey security concerns with this secret town.
Right.
So she writes to her dad and basically betrays them to her dad, and like presumably for the reason of like, I'm gonna get this stuff. Like we're gonna win one for team me and Dad, but it gets intercepted by Kagan's people, and then Billy Zane has a scene and disappears from the film.
yes,
I mean, and like that scene,
and they
is
put
nothing.
someone's head on his table, and I don't know whose head that was.
That was the messenger's head, but they didn't show the face because they probably didn't have the money to make it look good.
Yeah,
right.
And somewhere along this, because they're doing the training montage, at some point in this area, Michael Madsen says something along the lines of, "Welcome to the Grimstone Society." And I was like, they're the what now?
Yeah.
Because again,
Yeah.
that's something you tell the audience in the first 15 minutes.
Right, the Brimstones.
And it's like, and it's like, you have a name? You have a, like, why didn't you tell me you had a society name?
I think.
What are you?
I think it's possible that people expected the audience of this film to know the game well enough to know what this meant. Because I think in the game you're always doing missions out of the Brimstone Society.
Okay.
I think again, this is just from research, having never played the game. Because after this movie I was so confused about what happened. I needed to read it to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they are assuming here. It doesn't carry. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
So Michelle Rodriguez, they learned, betrayed them, right? And she went off to go find the heart.
But she knows where it is. Her and her dad already know where it is because of exposition.
They hid it or something.
Her grandfather.
And I guess they just he just threw it in water in a cave. Again, first one it was like a fucking booby trap. This one just in water in a cave. I don't even know where they get the rib or whatever. They never say.
I think Kagan just had it.
Right.
Yeah.
They all come in these little fucking jewelry boxes that look like they were bought at a Sears.
They really do. They look like cheap little wooden things that are like, isn't it handcrafted? You're like, well, it ain't $200 worth of handcrafted.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is.
So BloodRayne sneaks off while they're all sleeping.
Yep.
And Mullet is like, before you leave, here, take my necklace. And I was thinking, oh, I don't think she needs another necklace, buddy.
That's just getting in the way, really. You know.
Yeah, she has already too many necklaces.
Yeah.
This is a weird part. She takes a boat, and I just need to do shout out to Random Movie Boat, which it's not just in this movie, but every now and then a character will just get in a boat, and I'll think, whose boat is that?
Why is it there?
This even happens in in Lord of the Rings they get at the Elven Village, but it happens more often than you think in movies where you're like, that's somebody's boat that they're stealing. The world doesn't just have boats. It's not a video game. So like she steals somebody's boat and goes off to fight Michelle Rodriguez.
So this is when the timeline gets confused for the second time. So this is a thing the movie likes to do that we haven't even mentioned because like who can elocute all the points of disappointment here? But like the movie likes to tell you a major event happened by jumping forward in time and then having them recall it. So like they do it twice. The first time they do it is that we wake up with Rain having already escaped from the circus, and then we find out how she did it with her memory.
Right. And I don't know why they did that.
I have no idea why they did that. They do it again here where we discover, turns out the secret city of Brimstone has been overturned and destroyed, and everybody's been killed except for Michelle Rodriguez because of Michelle Rodriguez's note. That's what happened.
You're right.
That's why the note mattered.
It's like we don't even know this city matters.
No, you can't care. There's no way you can care about it. Like, it's not Gondolin or some shit,
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't care, and so I think they may have known that, which is why they tried to ellipse it. It was still extremely strange. Then we cut to Michelle Rodriguez in her sea cave with her 3 remaining loyal servants who are arguing with her about the plan. And she's like, shut up, here it is one more time, everybody. She explains it all. And then she gets in a dive fight with Rain.
I think you're being generous.
Okay, please.
She dives down.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll do it. I'll get the box.
I'll get it myself.
Which, again, can't stress this enough. It's just sitting loose on the bottom of this
pretty much
pond that's, I guess, been there for hundreds of years. At least 100 years. Maybe less. I don't know. But, like, it'll move around currents and stuff. Like, I'm surprised it's still there.
That thing couldn't have been there longer than 100 minutes by that logic.
It's
just
not
no
even way down.
Nah.
She picks it up. BloodRayne comes behind her, and, like, they awkwardly grapple. And she
briefly
stabs BloodRayne and swims away.
Belly stabs.
BloodRayne swims after her. They get on the shore. She just kind of wrestles her briefly and bites her.
She breaks her neck. There's a really bad neck-breaking scene, neck-breaking thing, and then she kills her by biting her. It's very, very anticlimactic, and almost certainly within eye shot of her 3 servants who do literally nothing. They do nothing.
Do we even see them again? No, it just cuts away. She just has the item now.
There's just no fucking way they wouldn't have seen it.
No, or at least heard it.
Yes.
She just resurfaced.
What?
I don't know. What did they go out to have a smoke? No idea.
They should have least done that,
Yeah, servants or no servants. Conceptually, this was probably one of the wildest choices of this film because they do a spar scene with her and Michelle Rodriguez where it's like, ooh, you're good at a sword. You're good at a sword.
Right.
So why wouldn't they have them sword fight?
Right.
They just have them wrestle in the water and she breaks her neck.
Briefly.
That is a wild thing to happen, considering that they set up a climactic sword battle between them.
I mean,
that never happens.
I can't get into the director's brain here, but I'm pretty sure the thought process must have been something along the lines of, well, we only really have the one fight, the sword fight between Ben Kingsley and our lead at the end.
Yeah.
We can't do it twice.
I'm guessing it was, I'm guessing there was something written because it's a classic plant and payoff. You have them as friends have like a rivalry, and then when they're enemies, you do Obi-Wan and fucking Anakin, where it's like, oh yeah, I've trained you, and now we're sword fighting again. You do that. They clearly were doing a plant and payoff, and then they just like, we're like, just have her like break her neck.
Right.
We got to move on. We got to move on. We have less than a day left on this set. Let's just get going.
It absolutely felt like they ran out of time and had to improv an ending. It absolutely felt like that. It was such a shitty end to an important character.
Right.
You
just assume there's going to be more too. Michelle Rodriguez's, she has a villain turn and dies in like 10 minutes. And it never
not
matters.
even that long. 3 minutes maybe.
She could, like many characters, you could have lifted her from the movie entirely. And she wouldn't have mattered.
Pretty much. They really could have cut stuff here. And I know it was only an hour and a half.
The movie would have been an hour long,
that's a problem. But there are things they should have added that we would have liked, like context.
Context would have been neat.
Yeah, the content really would have done something for me.
Character development,
I wrote, as this scene was happening, I had the following note, Dave. I'm so glad Michelle Rodriguez is in Fast and Furious. That's what I wrote down.
I'm glad.
It's like, they understand.
She's an Avatar, too.
Yeah, they understand her. Yeah, they understand her.
Yeah.
This film did not understand her, and it was a real bummer, because I think she is awesome when used correctly.
Yeah, this is probably she is the most wasted actor in this movie.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like they didn't even want, again, when they gave her blue contacts for no reason, it's like you don't even know who she is.
It reminds me of like Jason Statham in The One, where it's like he's not doing kung fu or anything. He's just like a background character, and it's like, oh, they didn't know who Jason Statham was yet.
Right.
That's funny.
Right. Yeah, it really felt like a waste. I do think the reason they had the water fight is I'm pretty sure she did something like that in Lost. I'm pretty sure that in Lost she had a water fight. If I'm not, I might be wrong about that, but I think she did.
All right. Well,
anyway.
now we're getting to BloodRayne's plan, and boy, I can't wait to talk about BloodRayne's plan.
You're really leaning on the word plan right now.
Yeah. Well, she presents as having a plan. She's like, I'm gonna bring him this heart, and I'm gonna kill him. Like, now that I have the heart and the eye, I'm gonna kill Ben Kingsley. She shows up at his castle, which I think might be Hogwarts.
Yeah, could easily be Hogwarts. Everybody in this scene that's not one of our key actors is not very thoughtfully cast.
No.
I think one of the things you notice about great directors is the detail work. Like the attention to details in the part, like the bit parts, the parts that don't matter, like they're just standing around or whatever. In this movie, all of those people look like grips.
Yeah.
Or like security guards, or like none of them felt like people, and unfortunately, some of them had major roles to play at the end here, like the weird high priest that looked like he could have been like a C-tier wrestler. It was like that guy shouldn't be this. Like he doesn't look right for the part.
Oh yeah, it's Ben Kingsley surrounded by like MMA bros. Yep. It's really weird.
Yep.
But so her plan, she goes in, and you assume she has a plan. What I'm getting at is that they present her.
Right.
They present her as having a plan. She's like, I'm going to go there. I have a plan. She walks right up to their door, and so again, you're like, oh, she has a plan.
Yep.
And she's like, I give up. Here's the heart. And I'm like, ooh, here comes her plan. Ooh. They grab her. They put her in the dungeon. And she's like, help, I'm stuck. And it's like, wait, you don't have a plan. She didn't have a plan. I don't know what her plan was.
Help.
This is driving me fucking nuts. She literally becomes a damsel in distress. Her plan is like, I'm going to get captured. And it's like, okay, step 1. What's step 2? And she's like, we'll see.
Help. Step 2 is help.
It really is. Step 2 is, oh my God, I'm captured. I can't leave. And it's like, but you showed up.
Dave.
What did you think was the plan?
It really thrills me to hear you summarize it. That's
what it is.
This is so much better than the movie.
I'm going to keep repeating it. She shows up and is like, tell your lord that I have the heart. And they're like, put her in the dungeon.
First. They're like, give me the heart first. She's like, okay.
Yeah, what did she think was going to happen? Because again, she shows up. It's like if Luke Skywalker was like, everybody, I have a plan, and he shows up at Jabba's palace.
Yep.
And then he gets captured, and it's all that except for him going now and secretly having a lightsaber.
Right.
She doesn't secretly have a lightsaber. She's just like, oh shit, I'm captured now. That's it.
Right. She doesn't even pretend to have a plan. She abandons even that. Yeah. Yeah.
She had no plan.
Yeah, nobody had a plan.
So she just gives him the heart. Although the only thing about the plan that you know is that the heart's not in the box. But other than that, she's fucked.
It took them hours to check.
Yes. They never checked.
She's
like, here's the heart. It's in this box. And they're like, cool, we trust you.
Right. Imagine
honor system.
Imagine if somebody's like, behold, I have the great crown jewel that will give you the magic powers. And they hand you a box and you're like, cool. And you set it down without looking at it.
Cool. Also, you're my enemy, but I'll believe you.
Right. No, I don't.
He doesn't check.
Sounds right.
Nobody checks. He literally, he checks. The first time he checks is during the ceremony to use it. That's the first time he checks.
Better make sure I got that heart. Oh, fuck. I don't have
where'd it go?
Oh, fuck.
So she goes in the dungeon.
Yeah.
They've now like disarmed her.
Yep.
And so she's
helpless.
fucked.
She's legitimately helpless because, as we said, there are no magic vampire powers, despite the fact that
she can't get out.
Yeah, she's trapped. That's it. That would have been the end for her.
Yeah. Then they put her on a sacrificial slab, and she's just screaming and like, help. Like she's just a damsel in distress suddenly. And I'm like, aren't you badass BloodRayne? Did you not have a secret sword hidden?
Nope.
Or anything?
Nope.
You're just in peril now?
Nope.
Meanwhile, Mullet and Michael Madsen are like, we got to go in there.
That's right.
There's only one way in. And they also seem like them
being helpless.
And their plan is to also get captured,
which they do,
and helpless. And then they're just in the dungeon, like, dang,
right.
What do we do? And it's like they literally walk in and they're like, on guard, haha, and then they willingly get captured. And when they're captured, they also have no plan.
No,
and so
fortunately for us, this is the point where the video game logic takes over. And like while they're in jail, they just like, there's a shiny point. They press A on it, and it escapes from the jail.
Yeah. I wrote down the exact line because I thought this was incredible. Okay. Luckily, the bad guys are the most NPC of NPCs.
So much. Yeah.
Michael Madison. So they're both. Him and Mullet are in the jail together. Michael Madsen goes to the jailer and says, "Thrall, my companion is gone. I don't know what's become of him." So what he's saying is the guy I was in this jail with,
he's missing,
is gone.
Right?
And the jailer should be like, "What do you mean? You're literally in like a 4x4 cell with him.
Right?
How could he be gone? This is a trick." Instead, he goes, "Oh, I better open this and look inside."
What was that noise?
Not like, "Oh, he's sick."
Right.
Like that's the cliche.
Right.
He's sick. No, he's gone. Like what a bad lie.
Yeah.
It's like
just
the
so
jailer should
lazy.
just be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the jailer should be like, "No, he's not. Like he's not gone. If he was gone, if he got out, you would also have gotten out.
Like sell that horse shit somewhere else, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But no, that works.
Well, it works. It's funny.
Yeah.
It makes you laugh.
In a good way.
No, not in a good way. But I think we're far past the intended pleasures in this particular slab of cinema. That's fair. I think we're about ready to take a laugh where we can get it, and they give us a few here.
Yeah.
So by the way, this is the part where I wrote down, I feel like every song from this movie is out of Skyrim. Like there's so much music that's like it just feels like choirs that are going on and on.
I can't remember a single bit of music from this movie.
It's because it's all bland.
Yeah.
It's all extremely bland. The remaining sequence of this film, which is just a sword fight, is
it's Ben Kingsley doing a sword fight.
Yeah.
And once again, they're cutting around everything because neither character knows how to actually sword fight. And they didn't get stunt people. And it is boring and bad.
It's boring and bad, but also, Dave, I think it's fair to say deeply hilarious at several points.
Yeah, again, he calls
hilarious.
her a bitch.
Yes, you ungrateful bitch. He says the most deadpanned a person has said a word ever.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. When he stabs Michael Madsen doesn't even react. He just looks depressed. It's so good.
Yes. He's just like all right. So Michael Madsen looks like you like poured water on his crotch. His expression is like, "Come on, man," and he stabs him so slowly and gently, and Michael Madsen just looks depressed.
It's incredible,
not annoyed, depressed.
It's just like I laugh again. I took a little break. I laughed so hard at that. I had to take a break. Like
it's incredible.
You've never seen a person more checked out on their job than he is at that moment.
Okay,
it's
Michael,
so
you're going to die in this scene. All right, action. Cut. So, Michael, let's do another take. Where are you going? Michael, where are you going? Okay, he's gone. I guess that's the take.
I guess
that's the scene.
I think we got
All
it.
right.
Yeah, print that.
Yeah, I think we got it. I think it was good. It was good.
Yeah, we got that. It looked like they were literally testing to see how the CGI would work, and they said, "Nah, that's it."
He doesn't. He doesn't.
He doesn't react.
I don't know if he knows the camera's on. He doesn't react.
It's perfect. It's
another
so
scene
good.
to go find online is Michael Madsen's
You need to see it.
Death scene.
Everyone needs to see it. It's it does feel like the thing we've been waiting for. Like so there is there is a treat at the end here. Like there is a triumph of the human spirit, and it's this moment.
Yeah, it is. We've earned this. It is so bad. I can't fucking believe it.
I laughed this hard twice over it. I just wow, it's amazing. I didn't care that much about the final fight so much. It was fine.
Because here's the problem with all the fights in this movie, and this is a problem with other movies, but man, is it a problem with this movie. In most movies, if you want to have a good fight scene, even a sword fight, you do stuff like you work the environment in.
Yeah, of course.
You create some sort of game. Yeah. You create something where like you do the thing where they keep dropping their sword and the other person kicks it to them and they're like, "We're not done." You do something. This is just they bang their swords together until she stabs them. That's it.
Most third act fights in general are the summary of the thing you've been seeing the character do the whole time, plus the thing they learned. So, like, my favorite example of this, because it's really clear and we've all seen it, is Top Gun, right? So Top Gun, you see Maverick doing all his crazy ass moves in this plane, right? The whole movie, and he gets rebuked for it. But then he also is constantly being told, you got to stick by your wingman. So during the final battle, against the MiGs in the third act of Top Gun, he does all the Maverick moves, and then he also doesn't abandon his wingman. And because he does all that, he wins. That's how fights work in movies. And like we don't have any of that shit here. None of it.
No, not even a little.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's it was honestly
terrible.
It was boring, and it made me sad because I was like, man, Ben Kingsley is like a real get for this movie, and they completely squandered it.
Barely make a villain out of him. Yeah,
they squandered it. Like they threw it all away. You know, what a
and then he turns into dust or whatever, and
like I would I would honestly, and I mean this sincerely, if I had Ben Kingsley in my feature, and I got this from him, I would be crying myself to sleep, and I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Like, it would be heart-wrenching to have wasted an actor of that talent and caliber.
Yeah. I understand completely.
Yeah.
Uwe Boll is used to this, though. His
Yes.
other movies
Yeah.
have good actors in them, too. He just burns through good actors. That's what he does.
I mean, I noticed that it was really hard for me to track down any quotes by Ben Kingsley about this movie. Like
why would there be a quote?
I think he was very careful to avoid.
You're more likely to get something about the Love Guru from him than this movie. Yeah.
He was up for Razzies for it.
Yeah.
That's like, that's not good, man. I mean, he's going to be fine, but like that's a bad moment, That's a bad moment.
I mean, to him, it was probably, 2 days? 3 days, maybe?
I don't even know how it could be longer than 2 days.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could have shot everything but the last sequence in one day. Easy.
Yeah. I imagine for him, to quote Street Fighter again, it's like the Bison quote where he's like, for me, it was a Tuesday. It's that.
Right.
Where like this performance that we will never forget that was so mediocre. For him, he's like, wait, what movie? I was in that? Like he probably doesn't even remember it.
Completely possible that he doesn't remember it. I suspect, though, that like when you're in something that's really heart-wrenching or bad, you do remember it because it's embarrassing. Like, I bet. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put myself in his shoes because I don't know how he thinks. But like, if I was him, I feel like I would remember this in the like, man, that was a huge mistake. I need to vet this stuff more seriously next time.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Because you can't unbe in the movie. You can't take that away.
You cannot. No.
I mean, right. Then
this is forever.
After she kills him obligatorily, there's a brief.
This is where she gets on the
throne. There's a brief moment where, so conveniently, everybody gets stabbed to death at the same time, basically. So then everybody, including Mullet Madsen, dies. There's a moment where she offers, "Should I vampire you?" And he's like, "No, just let me die." So
yeah, he's like, "Please, God, no, I don't want to be in these movies."
Yeah, right, exactly. No thanks. Yeah. So he's not in the movies.
So funny to have a character go, "No thanks, I'd rather die."
Thank you. I'm good. It's my time. That's the exact line. So
then she's crying, and I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah. Why we should be crying. It's us that deserve to cry, not you.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't earned the tears like I did.
Absolutely.
So like then they show this wide, and it's one of many of Uwe Boll's like, cool ass wides that are also like a little silly and dumb. This is like the whole throne room, and it takes her a full minute to get from one end of the room to the other where she sits in the throne. And it's just one of those things where it's like, no, like, just fucking make this happen faster. Do another take, make it faster. This is stupid. Yeah. So, like, because it takes so long, my mind starts to wander, and I start noticing details. One of them is not a single torch went out in all that hubbub. All the torches are still working.
Of course.
And I'm like, man, it's got to take somebody a very long time to work on all those torches. Like, that's a fucking serious job to keep all those fires burning all day. That's a job. It's a
lot of work.
And I had time to write all this down without pausing the movie before she got to the throne.
Right.
Cut it.
So your theory on the throne.
Yeah. It's like the seat of seeing at the end of Fellowship of the Ring, where it's
you're right.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But here's the thing. All right. So for that to actually have worked, you do something where Ben Kingsley previously is on the throne, and the throne is lighting up or making a sound.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of cue for the audience to know something's happening on this throne. But he's just sitting there. When she sits down, then you have the throne do the thing, and then you have her react like, oh, "What's this?" And then you like zoom into her face or something. I'm going very basic.
Pupils dilate. We just zoom into her eye. into her brain, and we see what she's.
And then the memories are like a different color. But what happens? She sits down, and the movie just starts replaying scenes,
right?
Which horrified me. I was like, "Oh no! How much of this movie are they going to show me again?"
Yep,
because I don't want to see any.
Yeah,
yeah,
I was worried.
And I didn't know if this was like, did they think they were earning like a montage? Like this is the ending of 6 Feet Under, where they're like, oh, people are going to be bawling their eyes out remembering these scenes.
It really,
like, I don't know why they did it.
It really feels like they wanted to put In the Arms of the Angels here, and just like do a real Sarah McLachlan-esque.
It was like a victory lap.
Yeah,
but it was like,
but
look at these scenes you saw.
But it was not scenes. It was just the boobs and the blood. That's all it was.
It was, you know what it is? It's fucking the ending of 50 Shades.
Yes.
They do it at the end when they do the montage.
Yes.
And they're like, did you think you earned this montage? Because you didn't.
I hate you more because you're making me see it.
Yeah, it's the same thing, only you're right. They literally show, I think, the guy getting his organs beat up again.
They showed us another angle of it.
Yeah.
A second
it's
angle.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing choice.
Yeah.
So, like, your theory that this is like an evil chair that's showing her misdeeds or, like, the bad things of the world, that is the most sense that'll make. Because what happens is she just does that, then she gets up, and then she leaves. And the movie's over. So my guess is that it's the idea of like a temptation of the throne.
She rides into the abyss from whence she sprang. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's very clear the real purpose of it is that Yul loves the blood stuff and wanted to take a little victory lap because he loved it. That's what this is for.
But it's so loud that it's like
confusing.
There needs to be a reason this is in here.
Yeah, it like really suggests that something is happening, like a narrative thing is happening, and it isn't happening.
Yeah.
So like
for a second, I thought, oh my God, is the whole thing a dream?
I thought so too.
Because that's what it felt.
Yes.
It presented that idea of like where like going backwards, and I thought like, oh shit, is this going to be like? God, there's a bunch of movies like this. I don't need to figure out which movie I'm thinking of, where it's like, oh, this was all in the imagination, and we're back at this scene.
Right.
Like she's going to be back at the circus, making the decision to leave or not.
Like Devil's Advocate or something.
Yeah, Devil's Advocate. Yeah. That's what I thought was going to happen. And I was like, fuck, man, that's fucked up. That's terrible.
Right.
But no, it serves no purpose whatsoever.
Instead of it being Devil's Advocate, it was you, Dave, just screaming like Al Pacino, frustrated that the movie wouldn't be over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like just, it was preposterous. Like it was troubling. It was like, I don't need to see this again. It was like
troubling is a good word for it. I felt troubled watching it.
It's like, I mean, I never thought the violence was like in any way actually upsetting, but it was more upsetting how much this guy likes it. It's like, dude, what?
It's like edgy humor where it's like humor at the expense of like a minority, where it's like the joke isn't funny and I'm not shocked by it. I'm just upset that you think it's really funny. Like it's that where it's like, I'm not clutching my pearls at this violence. I'm more concerned that you think it's really cool because it's not that impressive or cool.
Like, and I'm also like, what's the community that supported that sensibility to get this far gone? But you know, man, I don't need to beat my chest over the morals of it. I'm more just like, this is not a very good sensibility. It's confusing to me how he continues to make you don't understand.
You brought up a haunting idea, which is who likes this? Who likes this?
That's the question.
Idea.
I think you always have to ask that question when a genre like this persists, or a filmmaker like this continues to make stuff. Somebody likes it because it wouldn't.
Somebody likes it. What fucking monster? Is watching these?
I just don't. I mean, it's also like beyond the bad taste of it, and like. Look, man, there's things I like that people who listen to the podcast would think that sucks. That's fine. Sure. But like
everybody has their own taste.
Yeah, sure.
This is like, this is some niche. This is like crush foot porn. Like this is some niche shit.
It's niche.
Where you're like, who is it? Who's going for this stuff? What serial killer fucking room are they watching this in?
Right. What is the serial killer convention that they met and found each other? But also like it's not good. It's not well done.
No, it's bad.
And when I say not well done, the shots are not like that bad. Sometimes they're actually good, but like the storytelling is deeply confusing.
Yeah,
like you don't know what's happening, and you're not interested in it, and nobody cares.
I think So I think 99.8% of the audience were us. They were watching it ironically.
Oh yeah, for sure. No
and
doubt.
then they were extremely disappointed because they thought, "Oh, we're gonna have a fun time," and then they were like, "This."
It's not. It's not.
You know,
it's not like
this isn't fun.
It's not like.
It's not The Room.
It's not The Room. It's not campy
yeah.
like that. There's somebody who is competent enough at filmmaking to put images that are coherent together.
Right.
You know, like
Then I think the other percent are people who I couldn't even begin to imagine. I imagine a lot of like elderly people, like 90-year-olds who can't quite hear and see. I'm imagining a lot of like very drunk people because I've done that. I've seen a movie drunk before, come out of it and been like, that movie was good, and like watched it later. It was like, oh my God, this movie's terrible. I was just really drunk. Like I've done that.
I mean, that's
I
such
don't know, man.
That's such a niche experience. That's more niche than like the product itself. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine there's that many people. Like that's not an audience.
No.
You know? That's a
No.
mistake.
I imagine a few like serial killers who's in prison, like a Timothy McVeigh type is
sure.
probably maybe watching this.
He's watching it. If anybody
yeah,
is watching it, he's watching it. He, you know.
And Huey Bull.
Yeah.
I imagine Huey
Those two
Bull takes
together.
up a percentage. He pops it in late at night. He's like, oh yeah.
I feel like
Titties.
this is the right time to bring up again Blubberella, the movie
Yeah.
that is the parody of the third of these movies that Yubo also directed. He also plays Hitler in it.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. So like
Postal, I think, had some Hitler stuff.
Yeah.
He needs to be stopped.
Well, the third movie is called The Third Reich. BloodRayne,
Yeah.
The Third Reich, and I'm not thrilled about that, man.
I'm not thrilled.
I'm not
Listen,
excited about
we're
that
going,
at all.
After this is BloodRayne 2, right? That's it?
I mean, and then
Is this
then Third Reich.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's-
is there like a let me
No, that's
is
it.
there
It's
a
BloodRayne
title?
2.
It's just BloodRayne
Yeah, it's
2,
BloodRayne 2.
the second.
Yeah.
And it's nobody, no one involved. Uwe like I think he's just rich, right? And he also has terrible taste because he keeps making movies. And I think he's at this point trying to. He thinks he's maybe like so bad it's good, but it really isn't that. There's Blubberella. I see it.
Yeah.
My God.
I
He
mentioned
made
it-
a movie.
that may not be like that may actually fit into the scope here, Dave. I'm not trying to shake you down here. I'm just telling you like that
might
might
have
fit
to
in here. Yeah, that might have to.
You know
we
what's-
might be cursed to do that, Dave.
You know what's probably the bleakest thing?
Yeah.
Uwe Boll made a movie called Auschwitz.
No.
Yeah,
I know.
It has
but
a
I don't.
3.2 on rating. I would never need to watch a movie of him covering the Holocaust. That is, I don't know. That upsets me. That's upsetting.
Well, it's him. I think I mean, I'm looking it up now. He's quoted as saying that it was his duty as a German to educate young people in their language about the tragedies
Sure.
of the Holocaust.
And what I would say to him is, no, it's not.
Right.
Find somebody else.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean,
Get
like
somebody else.
I respect the fact that a German wants to talk about that. Like, I
Oh yeah,
I get
and there
that.
are other German films like
Yeah.
that. I mean, Downfall is a German
Yeah.
film, and that I would say if someone was like, "I'm thinking of watching this Uwe Boll film," I'd say, "Go watch Downfall instead."
I have the same problem with that I have with Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, which is like ultimately this is a violent person who enjoys violence, trying to lecture us about violence.
It's a person without taste covering something where it's like, I just don't think you can do it. I don't know. Maybe it's his best movie. I'm guessing it isn't.
I don't know. I
Blood
won't be
Rain
watching
2
that.
is
You know,
BloodRayne 2 Deliverance.
yes, Deliverance. Yes,
It has, man, yeah, it's got no one. It's got nobody in it. Nobody that like pops out. No, he couldn't even get a Billy Zane.
well, and probably he probably didn't get any money for it.
Probably not.
You know what I mean? Like, they probably
yep.
didn't fund it. Like
It's a Wild West film. Billy the Kid is in it. Oh my fucking
Billy
God.
the Kid.
We're going to have a great time.
Whoa.
Yep. He also made a Far Cry movie, and it's like, how did he even get the rights to that?
Far Cry.
What the fuck? Yeah, he made a Far Cry movie in 2008.
Whoa. Well, I don't think they were that serious about it then. Is probably why.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
BloodRayne is his follow-up to Auschwitz. You'll be happy to know BloodRayne 3, The Third Reich, is an hour and 19 minutes.
I am happy to know
So,
that.
yeah.
That's the happiest I've been in 3 hours, Dave. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or like
And
6
she
hours or
joins a
whatever.
resistance. She's going to fight the Nazis in World War II.
But I don't. Okay, so this is so we're moving forward in time is the idea. So now
I'm
she's
sure
moved
that
forward like
Hitler-
100
yep,
years.
Hitler's in it. We will have Hitler in it.
Oh my god. I don't even want to.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Why
you
are
don't
we doing
want
this? Why are we doing this?
Because you said it. You said let's do BUDRAYNE, and I was like, that's a funny pun. Let's do it because all our choices are based
I
off
just
of the
pitched the
fucking
pun.
name. Yeah, and now this is our life. This is what we're gonna
Why
do.
do we do this?
Yeah.
Why do we do this? Like, I hope the patrons who inevitably will listen to this nonsense understand that we've suffered for you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I'm not asking to be called a hero to my face, but
Yeah, but behind our back.
yeah, I'd like if some of you showed up at my funeral, which is probably approaching imminently because of this.
Oh yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, that some of you would speak to the suffering we've done on your behalf. You know what I mean?
So I'm not sure if Blubberella is. I can't tell if it's a spoof of BloodRayne.
It is a
'Cause
scene
okay,
for scene remake.
It's about an overweight woman. This is the quote: "Whose footsteps cause explosions and whose dual swords are used against anyone who makes fun of her." So I guess yeah.
It's again, when I was reading up on it, it is a scene for scene remake of BloodRayne, the Third Reich, the third one,
That is depressing.
and he directed it. That's the thing that's
Yeah,
so
of course he
crazy
did.
about it. So like
He
that,
directed 34 movies. In the Name of the King, he made 2 of those. He made 3. Sorry, he made 3 in the Name of the Kings. Fuck.
I mean, so that tells you, like, if nothing else, like the fact that he makes content that feels shameless, it's because he is shameless. So like, he's also not bummed out by your criticisms. He doesn't give a shit.
No.
You know what I mean? And
He doesn't
there's
give a
something, There's something about that I kind of respect. It's like, okay, well, if
Yeah.
you're going to be, if you're going to make what I would consider to be largely exploitative films, at least be shameless and like, own it. And he does.
Right, but he's no Lloyd Kaufman. Like he's no
Sure.
Trauma.
No, of course
Like
not.
he just doesn't have what it takes. Like he wants to be that. I think he really wants to be like this I'm making this so bad it's good stuff. I think part of him also wants to try to make good movies, and I think that's the problem is that
He's in the middle.
He's in the middle, and I think it's fucking The Room. It's that, but with less entertainment, which is that.
Well, he's much better than The Room. Like his
I
films
can't
are
forget
much
the
better.
room, the guy's name. That guy's name.
That's because we're old, dude. I can see him
But
now.
the Room guy is.
Yeah.
I normally Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy
Tommy
Wiseau,
Wiseau. He made The Room earnestly, and then
Yeah.
was basically told like, "No, everybody's laughing at you," and then he changed his career to be about that. Like, I think that's what Uwe Boll did. The problem is that he's not good enough to like the moment he became self-aware, it got worse almost. I don't know.
Yes, but also his starting he was also too good at filmmaking to ever be Tommy Wiseau.
Right,
Like Tommy
he's
Wiseau,
better than Tommy Wiseau
way
in terms
better.
of the craft.
It's not close. Like
Yeah.
he's so much more capable than Tommy Wiseau. Like on a technical level, it's like not
Right.
Tommy
So it's
Wiseau's not
or
really
like
a
Neil
filmmaker.
Breen's another example.
Yeah,
It's not bad enough to be entertaining, but it's not good enough to be good, and it's also not self-aware enough to be like Sharknado. So it's just crap. It's just a big slop of crap. Just running down like the back of a shed that's just been there for a month.
it's just beating your exposed entrails. Like that's
Yeah.
really what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie wasn't offensive as for being bad
No.
as much as it was.
I'm not shocked by it.
Nah, it was just sort of like I was just kind of sad because I always get sad when a movie is.
I'm Michael Madsen being stabbed.
That's-
I'm not
Yes.
shocked or angry.
Yes.
I'm just depressed.
Yes, I'm depressed because it's like, man, I want more than anything to make films, And like, it just troubles me that dudes like this are making things like this, and it's like,
oh yeah,
nah,
where
dude.
you're like, give me the money, the $25 million.
I could make
I'll make
5
a fucking
movies for
movie.
that.
Yeah.
You know, like, anyway, enough. Nobody needs to hear my self-pity. But like, my visceral reaction to this stuff is just be like, man, there's so many talented filmmakers. Not even me. There's so many that are just
absolutely.
waiting for a chance, and this guy's, not.
I get upset with this with the big budget stuff too, where it's like, oh, we're making Indiana Jones 5, and it's like, I'll tell you what, take that budget, split it 6 ways, and give it to 6 different filmmakers.
Yep.
They don't have, none of them have to be me, but give them to 6 like
That's right.
young budding filmmakers, and I bet you'll get better results.
Like, if it's I understand that they're more certain of the payoff than any of those 6 films.
Yeah, no, financially, obviously that'll work out,
And
but you
that's
know
the
what I mean.
problem.
Like creatively speaking, it's like we don't need a 5th Indiana Jones. I would rather have 5 new films from new directors.
But I legitimately can't understand. So, yes. But that's a different problem because that's people spending money that they know they will make money back.
Oh, for sure.
This is
it's all mediocrity though. Like, right? Like this is a rich guy, Yui Bull, spending way too
Is
much
he
money
self-financing?
on like.
Is he?
I don't know, man. I don't know
I'm
how he
Googling
gets his
this.
money. I don't think he makes money. Right? He can't possibly. He has to be in the red at this point. I think someone said that in Germany, there's like, it's like, there's certain countries that'll actually like put money towards films getting made. Like there's like tax breaks and special things. I think that might play in, but these movies certainly aren't making money. So he has to have money somewhere. And I can't imagine there's a group of producers who are lining up to lose money. I'm not looking it up.
Somebody's saying that this is 10 years ago. Somebody's saying that essentially, this is on Reddit, so take it for what it's worth. That he is using his own money now, but also there's laws in Germany that make it so that the money that he loses on his films are a tax shelter.
Yeah.
So like,
I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if this is an entire money laundering scheme. Like I've seen a few movies where I'm like, is this movie part of a crime, a financial crime being committed? Because it feels like it, right? Where it's like he's like laundering money through the movies, or like I wouldn't be surprised if he's like tied to the mob and they're like using his movies to like clean their money. Like I don't know. I don't know what else it can be. Because it's not making money. They're not making money. So
it's definitely it's definitely like impossible. Like looking at it, something about it doesn't add up. And usually when something doesn't add up, there's crime behind it.
yeah,
Like
or
usually,
it's just like Germany is like, listen, as long as you're shooting around this area, you're boosting our economy. So we don't give a fuck. Like I don't know. Like he's just burning money. He's just burning money like the Joker.
Again, so if you're, if he's extremely wealthy, like if that's who he is, like, he's got $1 billion, then okay, like he it's his money. He can spend it
could be like Neil Breen. Like Neil Breen, as far as I can tell, is an accomplished like real estate guy. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure he's very good at that. He's terrible at making movies. Like there's that where it's like, I wonder if Yui Bull is just like a fancy rich boy or like owns like a plane company. Like maybe he's very good at a different industry. I don't know.
His estimated net worth is $10 million.
Yeah, that's like everybody's estimated net worth.
That sounds like horse shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty. If you like, I think our net worth is like $3 million each.
And it ain't.
That ain't.
That
but
ain't
like,
right.
whenever you look up net worth, it's always some
I'm looking up
ridiculous number.
I'm looking up Dave's net worth.
I don't think you'll actually find it.
This is gonna thrill me.
Yeah.
It's a different person who's worth $10 billion named David Bell.
No,
I'll
that's
find
not
it
me.
though. I'll find it.
Definitely not me.
Yeah.
Look up like Cody. Cody, I bet would have a net worth.
I bet.
Again,
I bet he does. That's right. He's probably
he's notable enough, or like
yeah.
Robert, someone who has like a wiki page.
$1.5 million for Cody.
All going to amps and guitars.
Oh, dude, Cody, I could tell you stories that are not shareable in a podcast format.
Yeah.
Cody,
I'm not.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I love Cody. In fact, I'm supposed to see him tonight. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Oh, tell him I say hi.
Well, we'll see. I will if I see him. I love him. He is he is dripping in fucking guitars. Like that guy, like there as many nude women as surrounded Meatloaf. That's how many guitars are like around him at all times. He has so many guitars now.
No, he has a guitar addiction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whenever he's like, when we were trying to game with him for the longest time, he's like, I don't have a computer. I don't have a PC. I can't afford one. And it's like, just
can't
all right,
afford one.
This month, don't buy 6 guitars.
Don't buy
and
your
use
March
that money
guitars.
to buy them. You guitar freak.
Yeah. Like, what do you need it for? What is that? What is the 20th guitar doing for you?
I don't know,
like,
man.
he's not going to take it on the road, is he?
I don't know. Maybe he eats them. Maybe that's how he lives. He eats
could eat
guitars.
I can see Cody eating guitars. I feel like I might have seen that now that I think back about it. Yeah. I can't. I feel like it. This does feel like the point where we should be done. But these podcasts.
Yeah, we can be done.
Well, but these podcasts, they're done when we feel like stopping.
Adam, I haven't had lunch.
You haven't had lunch?
No, I'm hungry.
Well then.
I went out and bought drugs. I went out and bought drugs instead of making lunch. So I plan to play video games and eat and relax.
What video games do you want to play?
So Tom's texting me, and so I bet we could Call of Duty it. I was gonna either that or God of War if people weren't around, but I can God of War another day. That's all.
I could also, I could be a cowboy, or I could play Pentiment because I'm really hooked on this medieval detective game that I like.
Sure. Well, we all just we could play our own games and diddle each other with our voices.
Ooh,
that's fine.
That could be interesting too.
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever.
Okay, all right. So that'll.
We don't have to make plans on the podcast.
Why wouldn't we though?
I mean,
Yeah,
that's a good point.
What the fuck else? You want me to text this to you?
No,
exactly.
I mean,
I don't want to read a text. What are you a pervert?
I'm still gonna have to text because Tom has to be involved. Adam.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you want me to plug
anything?
Yeah,
you want to plug anything?
If you've reached the 2-hour 25-minute mark of BloodRayne,
BloodRayne,
I don't know how many episodes of this were in it. 3 or 4. I don't know. Something.
3. There's probably 3. I don't know if I can watch BloodRayne.
Okay. All right.
I genuinely am like, I don't think I can do that to myself.
Okay. That's amazing that you would dare say that.
We'll talk about it later. We'll see.
That.
But like, it really doesn't feel like something I want to watch.
Again, no shakedown. I'm just saying it.
I know.
It feels
I
like
understand the value in watching it. This is gonna be I'll think on it. I'll think on it.
Great.
All right.
Great. No promises to anybody. Yeah. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, Dave and I have made several podcasts that are all full of darkness and poison like this. Please go ingest them and see if you survive it. They're on the Gamefully Unemployed Network under the names of 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Guy, excuse me, and Guy Light. Guy Light's the real twinkling jewel of our crown.
This is part of a series, yeah.
Right. Yeah, this is a series that we do whenever we feel like it.
Basically, sex and vampires, I guess.
That's what it is.
What
sex
the
and
theme
vampires.
is, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to spend the first 30 minutes of the podcast debating the theme because I thought that would be really funny to waste that amount of time on that.
Oh, man.
Anyway, I didn't do it. Anyway, those of you who are still listening who are like, man, I loved this. I also do other podcasts. Most notably, I do the One-Upsmanship podcast on the iHeart Network with my friend Michael Swaim, where we have a dignified conversation about the games that will outlast us all and be viewed by aliens. Again, that's on the iHeart Network. Please, if you like it, give us a rating and a review. That helps other people see it. We'd love to become bigger, Also, I'm on the Patreon. I'm on a Patreon with my friends Mike Swaim and Abe Epperson called patreon.com/smallbeans. There you may find my other 3 podcasts because I am the middle-aged white man cliche.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
White guys!
Doing it like you said. This is how I date too. Just like, would you like to listen to any of my 5 podcasts? No, so you can listen to. You'll find them you'll find them. They're on there. There's one with Abe. There's one with Maggie. There's another one with Abe and Mike and me. It's all great. And otherwise, if you sneak onto the blacklist, you might be able to find a script that Mike and I wrote if we have not yet taken it down, called Sklarmageddon. May the best man
win.
If
you're Ewe Bowl, perhaps, listening.
I mean, I'm not saying this for sure, but like, I'm pretty determined to direct that script. because I can. So I'm pretty determined to make that happen. But
checks out.
we would sell it if the right buyer came along. So I don't know. If you're a movie maker and you're like, this guy has ideas, buy it. It's there. You can have it. Otherwise, I love you all, and I hate this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll plug our Patreon. If you're listening to this, you're on the Gamefully Unemployed Network. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, GAMEFULLY, unemployed. We're in the month of December, so like for the holidays, we're not putting stuff out as much this month, but boy, we put out a lot. And for just $5 a month, you get access to a bunch of exclusive podcasts on there. Tom and Jeff watch Batman. Fox Mulder is a Maniac, which there'll be new episodes all like I think until the end of the year. Star Trek: The Next Futurama and Spiel Boys. We also watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. Once again, this is kind of in place of some holidays, but like, yeah, we'll be around. Listen, go check us out. We have a lot of podcasts on there, a lot of backlog of podcasts you can go back and listen to. It's great. And we also have a t-shirt store. If you go to gamefullyunemployed.com, you get a link to our our Teespring store, and review us. Wherever you ingest podcasts, you can review us. That's it.
I mean,
BloodRayne.
You guys, can I just say, like, this is one of the best podcast networks that I've ever seen. As a person who's not part of it, like, it's not mine. So, like, please know that I'm not in any way encouraged to hype it. Really, but I really think it's special, like the stuff that you guys offer people. So
we are special.
Yeah, you are, and this movie isn't though. So I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know why you listen to it. Hashtag find something else to do. You know.
Hashtag find something else to do.
That's how you prove that you listen to it.
We need. First of all, Twitter might not be around anymore, but
I know, man.
What else should we do?
Mastodon?
Hashtag stab Michael Madsen.
Hashtag Michael Madsen stab, I think, is better.
Okay.
Right? Because that's what it is. I don't want poor Michael Madsen to go on Twitter and be like, what the hell did I do? You know?
I would love that. Like, Michael, you're tweeting. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And it's about
Are you
fucking
trending?
BloodRayne.
Yeah.
He'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck. He'd show up at your door and be like, I got a little song for you. And
Cut off
suddenly,
my ear.
Yeah. It's stuck in the middle, starts playing.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Good.
By the way, that would have been amazing if they just like were cavorting their way back into this like gondolin-esque city, and right as he walks through, that song starts playing. You know what
Right.
I mean? Just
like your suit, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Oh, man.
yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well,
bye.
Bye.
BUDRAYNE is brought to you by the following fantastic Hypecast producers: Mercurial Oz. Driftless wrote Mabel's name in the witch's book in blood. Ombre says, Mabel, step on me. Heathcliff's helping Hemfools. Conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head. James Cameron's prolapse locomotive. Snapper car punches God in the dick. At nerd numbers. Like the Lurker. Dracula, the bus-driving vampire. Brookway loves the meat Millie. David, the knife boot before Christmas Hinson. Grumble Bee. Screaming Horse Pyramid. Look ma, I'm on a podcast. Jay, the Crow Baron says give us a crow emoji, hashtag join the murder. Deborah is awesome, Barbara is great, and cancer can go to hell. Lumino ultra microscopic silico-volcanoconiosis anti-disestablishmentarianism Jones. Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead.
Cheese killy tits. D7 B's. Breezy Booeasy. Glitteris, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory. Davy, the ghost of East Las Vegas, Francis. Oh great, it's that guy. Chester's Prophet. Definitely not Guillermo del Toro. Brian O'Donnell's. Bob Grenville. Stephen. Han Toomey, the confused cyborg. Asking 7, rest in peace, Michaela, you were the best of us. Evil Ed 209. Menishevitz Multov says economic solidarity is the path to paradise, comrades. Tiger throws Brett Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Dan Heckroyd. Cody Johnston's time machine noise. Beat for Bagel. Follow viral TikTok superstar Jason Badger on TikTok and buy his new book. If this book exists, you're in the wrong universe. Dale Griffith, the shower curtain fella. The midnight patron, what patrons at midnight. Exploding runes. Andrew Howe, deck the halls with blood. Vincent, with a Y. Rev MD. Bootler Bootlerson. Tux. Ricky Cilantro. Norm from Cheers. No one can hear you scream in space, McNulty. Your mom. Nolan's cornucopia of Tubi movies says watch Muay Thai Giant. Jeff May's gas station toaster pastry is now available at no gas stations near you. AJ. Tip Drizzle. Cube 2 Hypercuburito Mouth. The ghost of Dave. Ghosts are already spooky, but I forgot about Halloween, Thomas. Aaron Burser. Christopher Robert Spots, Esquire. Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick chin. Funky J mostly comes out at night. Mostly. Pie Guy. Ho 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 ho.